Beautiful Gold Coast for NEFL Round 10, the Southport Sharks versus Sydney Uni. It's a blockbuster. It's first versus third. Sydney Uni 7-1 so far for season 2018. And the Southport Sharks third on the ladder with 5 wins and 3 losses. Michael Price and Jess Webster calling all of your action. And Jay Webb looking forward to a big game. This is a clash of the heavyweights of the comp at the moment.
Oh, absolutely. And we know how valuable these games are against State League versus State League clubs at the moment. And given both of these sides are coming off disappointing losses, of course, Sydney University lost to Sydney last week to end their undefeated streak. And then Gold Coast, well, they've dropped the last 2 after starting the season on fire. They've lost to Gold Coast last week and Sydney the week before. So a lot of questions will be asked of these two sides today, and it will be a fascinating battle, I think, to see who can get back on the winners list.
Yeah, Southport, they've been pretty impressive to start the year off. Had some really good wins, Canberra, Redland, Aspley, the Giants. And again, as you said, they're just fallen off and really belted by the Sydney Swans a couple of weeks ago. That's probably the only thing they've got in common right now is because the Sydney Swans belted Sydney Uni last week. So what do you make of it with both teams coming off the losses? What do you think the mindset's going to be, especially for Sydney Uni after their first loss of the year last week?
Well, I think it's the way they lost those games. Southport in particular, obviously, like you said, they were comprehensively beaten by Sydney. And then last week against Gold Coast was a really great battle, but they were in a winnable position. They kicked 5-1 in the first quarter and ended up losing the game by 14 points. I think both sides will be really disappointed that they let some golden opportunities slip. And of course, Sydney University against the Swans under lights at the SCG last Friday night, the biggest stage. And they just have that kind of, I think, a mental block when it comes to playing Sydney. So they'll be really determined to bounce back today against a Southport side, Pricey, which I think is the weakest that they've put out on the park today. They have lost 3 more players in Brodie Murdoch, Tom Wilkinson and Tyler Roos all out today, which means their emergencies, Corbett, Doran and Mutu all come into the side. So in total, 6 changes given that Fraser Thurlow is now overseas, Jaden Young is injured and Tom Ellard was omitted. And
a big in for them, though, and the one positive is Mitch Johnson coming back in. He is second in the leading goal-kicking behind, of course, Buff Ewing.
Matt Hamilman.
Oh, Matt Hamilman. From Redland. And the guy who kicked 9. It's just like a part of my memory that you just say Buff Ewing's at the top of the ladder.
It really is.
No, a little bit facetious of me, sorry about that. But look, when it comes down to it, we've got a very interesting stat that was uncovered by Cam Smith as well, is the fact that when NEFL MVP leader, Andrew Boston, who's leading the MVP at the moment by a couple of votes, whenever he has had 25 disposals or more, Southport's won the game. But when he's had less, they've lost. So for Southport fans, they'd be hoping that Andrew Boston, who our great caller Kanga calls El Mucho, the Mexican wrestler, if he has 25 touches or more today, then Southport will win. Who do you tip, though, Jess?
Look, I'm going to stick with the students. I think they've got a stronger side out there today, and good teams always bounce back, and I've never really seen Sydney University have too many bad matches in a row, so I expect them to get the job done today.
Umpires today, I will agree with you. Sydney University as well, Jess. Umpires today, Andrew Adair, Sam Ward, and umpire Isaac Farrell has the ball in the middle of Fankhauser Reserve. He raises it. It is round 10. Southport versus Sydney Uni. We'll get it underway, and here's Jess Webster.
So it's Tagliabue against Jed Turner in the ruck as the umpire throws it onto the turf. Tagliabue gets the first tap. Craig Bird and Andrew Boston wrestle for that one, but no winner. Ball just ricochets between a couple of players, and here's a chance now through Mutu. Handballs to Manteet at the back of the pack. Backwards to Seb Tate. Back to Manteet. Short kick, not a good one, out in space. And it'll be Clark first to meet it for Southport. His handball forward into Clements. Falls over as he's tackled. Close to the boundary line now. And at the bottom of that pack is Charlie Ford. And we're going nowhere. We'll have a ball up, centre wing position, commentary side.
Coming up with the ball there, Sam Fong, 10 goals for the year. After having a year off, there's a little bit going on behind the play. Thank you very much between Rob Clements and you got to watch out Ethan Reeves, who was just swinging like a garden gate in there as well. So Rob Clements, and I can't quite see the Sydney Uni player. Really bitter start at the moment. Looks like Austin Lucy.
That's Goulden.
That's Goulden. Well, you can't tell because his jumper's just about gone, but the free kick's gone against him. It's actually going to go in there to Dylan Mutu, one of the late entries for Southport after those 3 changes today. He kicks at the shears. Interesting start to the game, Jess. A little bit of venom early.
Certainly plenty of feeling. I think we wouldn't expect anything less between these two sides.
Wade Hancock's got the ball in front of us now. Decides to go inside 50. Sydney Uni had the numbers, but at the back of the pack, Mitch Johnson toes it towards the goal square, picking it up and banging it through. No, for a behind was Manteet. Curses himself when he let it go wide off the left foot, but one behind. The opening score of the game goes to Southport. A very willing contest earlier. Sydney Uni bring it back in.
Goulden finds Bird at the top of the 50. He wheels around. He's got a man in space on the wing. It's Bonnie. Eyes are darting as he looks for an option. That's an absolute shank. He's kicked it into Hancock. Mutu picks it up. Handball over the top to Shears. He chips it inside 50. Here we go. Mitch Johnson spoiled away by Cooper. And the two wrestle it at ground level. Johnson gets the handball out to Manteet, but he's wrapped up in a great tackle by Bird. And the ball spills over the boundary line, and we'll have a throw in 30 metres around from Southport's goal is again Pricey.
Ooh.
Bit of push and shove still going on.
I've got to say, if the jumper punch is a reportable offence, you've got to go start watching it, guys. You've got to have some jumper in the fist when you're doing a jumper punch. Plenty of them going on at the moment. Very willing contest. Throw in. The ruckmen go at it forward pocket there for Southport. Still can't get it out. Manteet puts himself in there, toes it off the deck. The handball's going to come out to El Mucho Boston. He gets tackled by Bonnie. Still gets the handball away. Now it gets over to Clayton. Clayton hooks it around with the right foot, 30 metres from goal. Oh, it bounces awkwardly. Forward it was for Southport, towing it away. Sydney Uni, can they extract it? They can. It's smothering effort, though. Again, the intent from Clark was shown there as the ball went over the boundary line. And we'll get another throw in just on the 50.
Plenty of intensity already by Southport, Pricey. Ball's been played majority in their forward half after nearly 3 minutes in the first term. So we'll have a boundary throw-in. Turner and Tagliabue again in the ruck, and the umpires pulled out a free kick for holding. Going University's way to Tagliabue.
Big unit, Tagliabue.
Certainly is. He chips it to Bonnie. Right half back for the students. So Bonnie is called to play on and just bangs it long down the wing. Derricks will fly at this one, but ends up fisting it over the boundary line for a throw-in. Wing position, commentary side.
Interesting. Jake Derricks is wearing number 37. Usually wears number 9. We were reliably informed they couldn't find it. That's fair dinkum. They couldn't find it. There you go.
True story.
Jake Derricks is number 37. Fong did beautifully. Can't quite collect the ball. Could have got one high as well. Still got loose. Tackling fierce from Southport. Doing it in numbers. And wrapped up was Lockie Hares. And we'll get a ball up right in front of us here in the NEFL commentary box. Plenty going on. Physicality aplenty. Well, that was a throw. Ball got taken out to Shears. Handball to Manteet. Scrubs it forward. Running and hitting it hard there. Ford tackled, toes it towards the boundary line. Another throw in, 55 metres out left half forward.
Geez, a hot start to this game, hasn't it,
Absolutely.
Pricey?
The physicality is palpable, first versus third. That's what we would have expected here for round 10 of the NEFL competition. Really heating up between these two state league sides.
So the umpire tosses it back in. Again, the two ruckmen go at it. Ball spills out into a bit of space inside 50 for the Sharks. Clayton on the left boot just swings it around to the hot spot. Johnson couldn't take the... Oh, no, it's been paid?
Yeah, I reckon he just had enough of that, Jess, controlled it. But how about the strength? He leapt early, knew he had the body size. He's a short man, but he's very stocky, Mitch Johnson. Second in the goal kicking behind Hamilman, as we've already discussed. But what an in for Southport, and what a strong grab.
Certainly has been on fire this year. As Johnson, in his comeback game from suspension, kicked 8 goals 4 weeks ago at this venue. Can he get his game off to the right start? And he just sneaks that one through. Southport, the first goal on the board, 1-1-7, leaves Uni yet to score. We've played 5.5 minutes in the first.
Yeah, Mitch Johnson, we said it before, from Berwick in Victoria, come through. He's only 180 centimetres, but he's 85 kilos. I reckon he's about 95 myself, just quietly. Must spend an awful lot of time in the James as they're, again, it's Golden they're going into. In the Southport forward 50, there's plenty going on. Noah Corbett pushing and shoving with Adam Goulden. And Goulden's jumper, the number 41, strewn all around his body. So plenty going on. There's a couple of players involved. But the Sharks have got the early ascendancy here at Fankhauser, round 10. NEFL TV through our broadcast partner Bar TV. Tagliabue Left foot. Kicks it to half forward. It bounces awkwardly. Clark controls it. Wheels back in. The left foot is a big kick towards the centre. Morrison can't quite control it. Ball hits the deck. It's towed forward for the Sharks. A little bit of water over there. We must have had a little bit more rain on the coast than I had seen myself, Jess. Ball stuck underneath several. Can the uni students get it out? They can. Well played. Handball. Tagliabue in the middle. He gets it out. Comes back into Bird. Kicks it inside 50. Southport have got it covered. They've got the numbers, well played, and they'll get it out quite easily.
So Tate, handballs to Kenny. Short kick to the wing. Manteep pushed out of the contest. No free kick. Johnson comes out to meet it. Handball misses the target. Chance now for the students. High. That was over the shoulder. Free kick going to Manteet. Bartholomew's giving away that one as Manteet goes short. Inboard. And finds Corbett, the late inclusion. Kicks out to the wing, Charlesworth. Last week's NEFL Rising Star nominee. Handballs over the top to Mutu. Just a high up and under kick towards the 50-metre line. A pack forms coming out. Almost taking the grab was Cooper at ground level. Clements has a snapshot. Doesn't have the bounce. Misses to the right-hand side for another minor score. Southport, all the scoring. 1-2-8. Uni yet to score. 7.5 minutes played in the first.
Yep, they're doing all of the attacking so far, Southport. As you see, Uni bring the ball back in. That's a dodgy-looking kick. It's going to evade Fong as well. Ends up with Clark at the top of the centre square. Searing pass. Looks for Johnson. Good fisting effort there. Picked up by Hall. Hooked around. And yes, indeed, the second goal of the year for Josh Hall. Second goal in over 3 years. Was it 1,000 days?
1,064 days, I believe, off memory last week, Pricey.
Well done, Josh Hall, the former national high jump champ, Penrith Rugby League player. Second game back after 3 years adrift from the game. And he kicks the second goal for the Sharks, 2-2-14. To the students yet to score. It's around about 10 minutes gone, first term here on NEFL TV.
And I'm just looking down at the boundary line. Nathan Cooper, after that last contest, he did fall awkwardly and is coming off the bench assisted by the trainers. He doesn't look in a good way, Pricey.
No, he doesn't look good at all,
That'll
getting a lot of assistance.
That'll be a massive blow for Sydney University.
Yep.
I wonder if he might have got a bit concussed. It was a big contest. I think he just kind of fell awkwardly. But ball back in the middle at the moment. And the umpire has found a free kick from the non-officiating or non-controlling umpire going Southport's way. And Dylan Fife emerges with the footy. Tasmanian, little wobbler kick inside forward 50. Barron Hay first to meet it. Handballs to Hares as Uni try and rebound from defensive 50. Bartholomew's chips it to Wilson. Can't mark. He's under pressure now. Great tackle from behind by Clements. Or it was Reeves, rather. Backs up. Handballs into space. Fong for Uni. His handball doesn't hit the target either. Too much on it for Bartholomew's. We will have a boundary throw-in 30 metres around from the Southport goal.
2-2-14 to Southport, to Sydney Uni yet to score. Big contest here at Fankhauser Reserve for NEFL round 10. Throw-in. Austin Lucy went in the ruck as well for Sydney Uni. Ball hits the deck, so Lucy goes back and has a crack at it. Just about to dive in it now. Boston's in there as well. Ball stuck underneath, and the umpire hugs himself, says we'll ball it up 45 metres out from the Sharks' goal.
Already Tagliabue, we know how important he is. Price, he's already up to 5 hit-outs. Is Uni leading that statistic 6-1 at the moment.
Sharks with all the disposals, though, 37-18 at the minute.
So we'll have another ball up. 40 metres out, almost directly in front of Southport's goal. So no winner there from the ruck tap. Ball spills out to Reeves, but Hebron right on his tail just wraps him up in a bear hug. And we'll have another ball up. We've moved a couple of metres closer to the teeth of goal. So
out of the 36 players, there's 12 of them in the centre of the ground. The other 24 around the pill as we speak. Good tackling effort there, disposed the ball from the Sharks. Now, Bonnie, can he do something? He taps it back over his head. Boston enters the fray, grabs the ball, handballs it away. Kicked inside 50. Oh, nudged out from underneath it there. Could have been a free kick to Xavier Richards against Johnson, but the ball hits the post, and it'll be one behind as the the students bring it back in. Davies picks it up, tackled immediately. Here we go for Southport. Coming back in, it's Kenny. Kenny straightens up. hits a target. He lowered the eyes and hit Noah Corbett 35, 40 metres out directly in front.
Well, the Sharks are all over him at the moment. The couple of inside 50s that the students have had have been rebounded straight away. They haven't even got it deep inside their forward 50 yet. So Southport started this match on fire at the moment, Pricey.
They have already 15 points in front. Sydney Uni yet to trouble the scoreboard. Noah Corbett leans back and puts it through. Southport get their third. He gets his first goal of the year, does Noah Corbett. So it's 3-3-21. Sydney Uni yet to score.
I don't think we expected this, to be honest, Pricey. Both of us thought Sydney University would set the tone early, but to Southport's credit, they have been really aggressive at the ball at the moment, and they just seem to be a bit more awake, a bit more alive at the moment. Sydney University just sort of struggling to find any sort of momentum or tempo and control the game on their terms, which they do so well at.
Agreed, they've been sort of knocked off it a little bit. As you say, the intent on the contest for Southport, both tackling and at the player as well, and at the ball. So they're doing very, very well.
Sydney University, they need to respond. Crucial they get this clearance. It's Tagliabue against Turner. Ball misses both of them. Boston's in there, can't extract it. Spills out the pack. Fife with a little kick around the corner. Up towards half forward. Baxter just charges out. Handballs to Turner. Kick inside forward 50, doesn't hit the target. Richards, who is first to meet it for the students, just taps it to his advantage and eventually it just ricochets off a couple of players. Josh Hall was one of those for a boundary throw in just to the left-hand side of the point post.
Just getting smashed out of the middle at the moment, the students of Southport extracting that ball a little bit too easily. Tagliabue versus Hall. Hall smashes it forward. Throw over there by the students. It's going to be, tackling effort. Josh Clayton on Bonnie. He dispossessed him. Ball went over the boundary line. Another throw in. Left forward pocket for Southport. They're pressing hard. They lead by 21 points. Sydney Uni hasn't scored as yet. Only halfway through the first term. Physical contest to start, Jess.
Absolutely. Another chance here for the Sharks to continue that scoreboard pressure. It's the boundary throw in. Comes in. This is Charlie Ford. Just screws it around the corner. Hebron under pressure. Kicks it in space. Wilson first to meet it. Man, Teat wraps him up. You're going absolutely nowhere. Good luck getting out of that. We'll have a ball up 45 metres out from Southport's goal. Again, they lock it in, Pricey. Yeah,
their tackling has been absolutely superb so far. 10 tackles to 8 is the stat, but it seems like Southport are all over them. Umpire signals a whistle, tackle on Shears. Now, I thought that was a reasonable tackle, but it's been deemed to have been too high. Shears, Kai Shears, kicked his first goal of the year last week. 1 goal, 2, the Suns Academy product. Going to have a shot from around about 30 metres, 45-degree angle. We're right behind it here in the NEFL TV commentary box, thanks to Bar TV.
And this will add further pain to the students, wouldn't it? Southport's 4th goal in the first 15 minutes.
Kai Shears. A little bit of a stutter step. Nice look at right foot kick. On fire, the Southport Sharks here in round 10 at home. Doing it to the students. 4-3-27. Sydney Uni yet to score.
I think we're a little bit stunned here, Pricey, at the moment. I don't think we expected this. Look, we knew it was going to be a really great contest between these two sides, but to think that Southport, 4-3-27, leading it by 4.5 kicks over the students who are yet to score, we just don't see this very often from Sydney University, where they concede multiple goals at once.
And they have. Well, they've conceded 4 straight and don't look like scoring at the minute. But again, we'll just see how it goes in the middle of the ground. This is where they're controlling things. The ball is being extracted from the middle way too easy. Southport using the ball once they get it out as well. We'll see the big ruckman in Tagliabue and Turner. Give that one to Tagliabue. He gets it down. Can Sydney Uni get out? No, it's transferred again. Here comes Mutu. Drops it into the path of Baxter. Misses him. Hebron misses with the handball. It's kicked forward for Southport. Can Sydney Uni get out? They can. That's a nice pass. Well, it actually drops to the feet of Wilson. He did well to control it. He gets tackled by his opposite, number 27 in O'Shea. That was a rolling tackle at centre-half forward for Southport. They can't get the ball past halfway.
I think skill error is costing them at the moment. Just that last centre clearance, we saw the handball from Burgess didn't hit its target, and then Southport were away.
Ruck contest. It's kicked inside 50. Sydney Uni kick it out. Again, look at the Southport numbers. Charlesworth. It's a scrubby kick. It's going to be set upon there. It was, who's number 36 now? We've changed that one, have we? That's another number that we don't know about, Jess. I'm reporting that. Davies gets a handball back to Reeves. Now it's over to Davis. Kicks it to the outer wing. Good contest. Fisted towards the boundary line. Mantee chases it out there. And we'll get a throw in on centre wing on the outer side.
So I think it might be Goulden, who had his Guernsey ripped off him earlier in the game. I think he's just had a change, and he's now number 36.
They didn't like that 41. They tried to rip it off him several times, didn't they? Got torn asunder.
So 17 minutes played in this opening term. It's been all Southport, as we'll have a throw in. Centre wing position out of side. Bird again. His handball goes straight to Clayton, who throws it on the right boot up to centre or half-forward flank, but Stevenson underneath that for the students. Switches inboard to Richards inside defensive 50. Switches the kick, finds Baron Haybeat. He drops the mark, and they're under pressure again. Reeves kick inside forward 50. Hancock can't meet it. Almost bounces through for an unlikely goal, but misses to the left-hand side. Another minor score for Southport. 4-4-28. Uni yet to score, and they brought this one in quickly.
And that's got to be their modus operandi. Get the ball moving is the only way they can get through Southport, as Bonnie handballs it over there to Bartholomew's. What can they do as they go down the outer side? Left half forward, it bounces kindly. You get there for Reinhardt. He's going to kick it back again, mucking around with it a little bit, looking for the perfect lead, but it was just kicked straight down the throat of the Southport defence. There's Charlesworth again, last week's Tribal Sport NEFL Rising Star nominee. Good player, this young fella. It's a big high bomb, just short of centre wing. Turner over the back, the big fist. He almost dragged it down as well with that one hand. Rove by Fife, handball over the top to El Mucho. Boston kicks it into the corridor. How about that for vision? Opens it right up. Mutu sells the big dummy. That's a floating, wobbling mongrel inside 50 through the legs of Richards. Is Johnson. He went to scoop it up and towed off the deck.
Oh, it missed.
And missed. That was Hancock. That was a goal for all money, but it just shows you nothing working for Sydney Uni at the moment. Straight through the legs of Xavier Richards. It nutmegged him as they bring the ball back in quickly.
So Richards to Baron Hay. Goulden, short kick Wilson. Short kick misses its target. Another turnover. Fife for Southport. His handball misses the target, but we've got ourselves a free kick for a push in the back.
Geez, they're getting frustrated, Sydney Uni.
And it's Fife. Chips it to Clements in space. Handballs to Clark. Long kick inside 50. Johnson and Stevenson. Johnson almost pushes Stevenson out of the way, but he's a strong fella too. He wasn't going anywhere. Yeah. Thumps it over for a minor score. 4-5-29. Uni yet to score.
Lewis Stevenson, very experienced West Coast and Port Adelaide listed player. Very good last week and used all of his strength there against Mitch Johnson. So Fong just drops it forward to Bird. Sitting right on the 50 arc, about traditional centre-half back. Brings it across now to Thompson. Not a lot of movement ahead of him. Having a look for Tom Young, who had a handful of the jumper as well. Got away with an absolute beauty. The umpire was blindsided. Young handballs it back now. Barkley chips it forward to Bonnie. Some of their bigger names getting involved now. Bonnie chips it inside 50. Oh, the target in Davies missed it. Just sort of a little bit too high for him. Southport again with the numbers. Tape goes across to Davies. Davies has hit Clements. Beautifully picked up and gets around him. Very nicely done. Overcooks the kick a little, but you can forgive him after he showed the afterburners and the nice turning circle there. Be a throw in on the outer side of the ground, and they need Bonnie and Tom Young and these bigger names to get involved for Sydney Uni at the moment. Very frustrating to see. Probably the only second touch that Tom Young's had so far.
The first.
The first, there you go.
So umpire tosses it back in, and it's fisted back where it came. We'll do it all again. We've moved about 5 metres closer towards Southport goal. And Pricey, that was probably the first deep forward 50 entry we've seen from Sydney University. And they didn't hit the target properly. They had enough space, enough time. And it's what's let them down, I think, in the early stages of this game. That
was very un-Sydney Uni, like the finishing skills, but they are, as we say, being put to the test physically by Southport so far in this game. The Sharks win yet another free kick. Boston down the outer side, kicks it to a pack, beautifully done by Richards, takes the mark, wants to play on, dangerous kick into the corridor, overcooks it from the Southport player, so Tom Young enters the fray. Back out there to Barkley. Barkley chipping it towards Davies. Could have been held by Seb Tape, a chop of the arms it was, perhaps, yet the umpire signals that. So Davies will take the free kick. He's still inside the centre square. Not a lot of movement forward. Southport with plenty of numbers back at the moment. Still being held up is Davies. Umpire gives him 2 whistles and said, kick it, sunshine. Kicks it inside 50. Wilson brings the ball to ground. It's towed out of the pack by Thompson towards the top of the square, and Davies, like a goalkeeper, just sitting there waiting for it. He accepts the mark and then passes it off to Matt Doran.
So again, Southport save the day. Doran chips in board, finds Boston. Wants to switch play. Long, penetrating kick, just has enough on it and finds Kenny. His kick isn't pretty. Out in the path of Hancock. He's got enough time and space, though. He can do what he likes with it. Look at the run from Southport. Kick over the top in the path of Clements. Short chip inside 50. Reeves drops the mark. Bartholomew's hot on his hammer. He's got a couple to beat now. Thompson comes in to help out the Sydney Uni defence. Richards, Bartholomew's kicks is smothered by Hancock. Clements just spins out of trouble. Kicks it to the hot spot. Turner out in front. Takes the mark. 20 metres out from goal, and here's another opportunity for Southport.
And once again, outrageous forward pressure from Southport, the smothering effort to bring the ball to ground, and then the discipline from the pocket to drag it to the hot spot. Jed Turner, there was no way,
50.
And now it's 50. So he's just running with it. Anybody got one of those big packs of sacks of salt? It's an open wound. Start pouring. Southport absolutely flogging Sydney Uni at the moment, both physically and mentally.
This is some performance by the home side at the moment as Turner strolls in, and that's number 5 for Southport. They are absolutely on fire at Fankhauser Reserve. 5-6-36. Sydney University yet to score, and we've played 23 minutes in the first.
Yeah, well, this is a complete surprise to me. That's so un-Sydney Uni-like, but again, we've seen elements of Southport's game creeping up and improving in this aspect for most of the season, and they seem to be putting it together. Still early doors, it's the first quarter, no need to get overexcited, but the fact is they are stamping their authority on this game and telling Sydney Uni this is our home patch.
Absolutely, and it's almost like the Southport of old, Pricey, isn't it? When you come to Fankhauser Reserve and you know you're going to have a tough day at the office.
Well, speaking of tough day at the office, if Damien Bonney's going to have Dylan Fife on his hammer all day, it's going to be an interesting prospect. Oh, Physicality again, just coming in off the square there and taking out one of the players. It was a beautiful fair bump as the ball comes towards us on the commentary side. But just again, you see the intent is to go in there and disrupt Sydney's smooth delivery out of the clearances and getting the ball clear.
So Lucy against Hall. Fong first to meet it, but again, Clayton lays the tackle and Menteet as well. And we will have another ball up. Haven't moved too far from where we were. The umpire restarts play. Hall just takes it out of the ruck, almost holding the ball, just got the handball away, but massive players around this contest. And it's on again, Pricey. Bonney and Fife involved.
Yeah, they're really getting inside Damien Bonney's head because they know he's a prime mover for Sydney Uni. Get right in his face and put him off his game.
So we've had about 3 ball ups in the vicinity of 3 or 4 metres at the moment.
They won't mind this at all, and and a little bit of friendly verbal advice from one of the Southport players about how the level of weakness in one player was amazing. And so it comes to Reeves. That byplay, it's just so close to exploding right now. Fong and Menteet want to be very careful. Just remind you, lads, we've got the Neefle TV camera sitting right in front of you at the moment. They can hear it. Oh, it is. Southport move it through Davies. Inside 50. Mitch Johnson, they just let him go for it. Very fortunate that it went through his hands, Sydney Uni. It's sitting there now with Barkley. They seem at 6s and 7s. The team sitting on top of the ladder look like a rabble at the moment. A long kick. Good contest at the back. Davies back inside 50, peppering the Sharks and kicking it inside. And Shears takes the mark. This is extraordinary at the moment. The pressure that the Southport are applying, they are nailing the students to the ground.
It almost has the atmosphere of a finals game, Pricey, at the moment. It is so intense out there. There's so much feeling, and we're seeing a team that really wants to make a statement in this NEAFL competition.
I reckon Coach Tom Morrison would love quarter time to come very soon so he can settle down and get his message across to his players. Shears plays on, curls it around, it starts right and just fades. So one behind for Kai Shears. 5 goals, 7:37 to Southport. The students yet to score as they bring it back in quickly. Hits Bartholomew's.
Short kick to Hebron. It's about 16-metre pass. Hebron goes very wide as Sydney University turn it over again. Davies chops off the kick to Bonnie, and he can send it back inside 50 for the Sharks. And what about the vision? But I think it was Wilson who got back there. Or Ayres, was it? Sorry. As Southport again, just trying to influence at the contest. High up and under kick from Mutu.
Oh, that's a free kick too. Yeah, I know he let the umpire know it was there, but it was there. So he made it very obvious for the umpire to make that decision. Once again.
It's Wade Hancock and Johnson. I think we've spoke about it obviously in the early parts of the season, how dynamic Southport's forward line is. They don't have a tall forward line by any means, but it's Johnson and Hancock and these others who always bob up and chip in with a couple of goals. So this will be Hancock coming in. Let's go from 40 misses to the right-hand side. And, geez, it could be even worse for Uni at the moment if not for some inaccuracy by Southport. 5-8-38.
If one thing's for certain, Sydney Uni will come back into this game. They will get their turn, and Southport, you would think, hopefully for them, aren't wasting their opportunities. Back inside 50. There's another opportunity. It's punched away there by Hancock. Ball hits the deck. What can the students do? They can get out of here. They desperately need to through Thompson. Get the handballs going. Craig Bird needs to get involved in the middle. He's getting belted at the moment. Long kick from him, and Charlesworth reads it beautifully. Umpire says play on. He's gone off his mark, and that's off the side of the right shoe. Sets a big task for the little man there in Corbett. He does well to get up and tackle Wilson, but Sydney Uni getting away there through Goulden, who's wearing the 36 now. It bounces in front of Hebron. Chip forward, Bonnie. Bonnie kicks long, looking for his own target, but there's a couple of Southport players there who are going to put him right off. There's Reeves. Handball back to Hall. Well, Kenny, goes down, and we find Clayton in the middle of the ground.
Clayton chips it to Tape up against the boundary line. He's got a runner in Doran. He just evades one, and then short kick inboard finds Turner. He wheels up and kicks it long inside 50. Johnson has front spot, spoiled away by Richards. At ground level, I think was Corbett, and copped a high tackle, and it is Corbett. And he will line up for another set shot on goal.
Well, Corbett's already kicked one. He was just, it was just that unfortunate tackling technique. When you're making your way down, you've got to make sure you get lower than they do. At the time, he wasn't ducking into it. He was actually on his way down to get the ball in the first place. So it's the old Selwood shrug, or the Geelong genuflect, as they like to call it. So in the shadows of quarter time, Corbett already got one goal to his name on the approach. Let's go from 45. Umpire does a little bit of work, but that is straight through for another goal. And Southport, 6-8-44. Sydney University yet to score. Pricey, this is a 44-point lead. Let's have a look at some of these stats, Jets. They're getting absolutely out of hand for Sydney Uni at the present time. When it comes to disposals, Southport are already 40-plus in the first term. You got the hit outs inside 50s, 21-5, as there's more stink. And guess what? Damien Bonney's involved. I don't think he's the instigator today. Don't forget that. He's a visitor to these parts, and I think he's getting absolutely hammered. They know how important he is. And they're dominating in the centre of the ground for clearances as well, Jess. Those stats are just showing it. 40-plus possessions. Absolute flogging so far. Bonney. Yep, he let loose the ball and then he got let loose. The ball stuck underneath several and a little bit of extra mustard being put on the tackles as well. And held up. Thompson's the last man. Sorry, the last man up was Hares. Tagliabue back to Hares. And that is sweet relief, that siren, for Coach Tom Morrison and the Sydney Uni side. As there's plenty being said, Damien Bonney has gone up to one of the umpires and said, how about the fact I'm being held? And then one of the Southport players in Reeves run up and just said, don't whinge to him, come and talk to us. It's actually getting very physical, that you can see them targeting Damien Bonney. There's a fair bit of chat between the Sydney Uni people and the umpires. Southport absolutely dominating that quarter. Jess Webster, 6-8-44 to the Sharks to 0. Bubkiss, nothing. Sydney Uni, the top of the table side, getting belted at the moment. I can't believe it.
I'm completely with you, Pricey. I don't think I've ever seen this kind of complete dominance over Sydney University, unless it's the Sydney Swans, who have always sort of had the wood over the students in recent times. But this has just been phenomenal from Southport. We did not expect this. They came into this game with 6 changes, including losing 3 in the last 24 hours in Murdoch, Wilkinson and Ruse. And they have come out here showing us that they should be back on top of the ladder.
Well, there's one thing for certain. I said it before. Sydney Uni will come back. It's a game of footy. It's only quarter time. 44 points is the margin, but you watch what the students do, see if Southport can handle it. We'll be back with the second quarter and more very shortly on NEFL TV. Welcome back to Fankhauser Reserve, Southport on the Gold Coast. It's round 10. The Southport Sharks at home to Sydney University. It's first versus third. You wouldn't think about it at the moment, but Southport third on the ladder facing Sydney Uni, who are top of the table, and the Sharks absolutely poleaxing Sydney Uni at the moment. 6-8-44 to Sydney Uni, yet to score. Your goal scorers for Southport, Noah Corbett, the late inclusion's got a couple. Mitch Johnson, one. Jed Turner, Kai Shears and Josh Hall all have one. Now, there's been two reports. It's been a spiteful affair so far, very physical. Austin Lucy and Damien Bonney, both from Sydney Uni, have been reported for striking offences. Thanks to James of the Umpires Department for letting us know that as well. NEFL TV, through our broadcast partner, Bar TV. And, of course, we're proudly supported by Elastoplast. Just having a chat to an interested spectator here next door, the father of Tyler Roos, who was a late out for Southport today. Of course, that is the great Paul Roos. And he's a very interested spectator. Reckons it's a cracking game of football physically. Absolutely.
We've seen Southport come to players. We see Harry Morrison just running onto the field. Sydney Uni had 6 on the bench until he just ran out onto the field. Nathan Cooper out of the game, it looks like, for Sydney University. Right ankle, he's on the bench with ice on his ankle. Doesn't appear to be coming back on.
Rightio. Here we go. Second quarter, NEFL TV. Here's Jeps Webster.
So what can Sydney University come up with in the second term? As Doran's first to meet it. Reeves tries the fend off. Fong wraps him up. Turnover, a chance. Wilson, just a high handball. Manteet is underneath it. Chain of handballs. Clark on the left. Kick up towards half forward. No one's there for Southport. It'll be Goulden first to meet it. Handballs to Baron Hay. Handballs to Barkley. He is not sure where to go. He's in a lot of trouble. Goes very backwards and deep to Richards on the last line of defence. He handballs in the path of Hebron. Hebron again under pressure. Here's a turnover. This is Doran on the left. And Southport start the second quarter like they did the first, and this is getting ugly.
Wow.
7 goals, 850. Uni yet to score. And they were just massively under pressure in that back half. And why Barkley didn't go long down the wing instead of switching it to the last line of defence and causing a turnover, it was just... That was hard to watch.
He looked up. Southport had set up beautifully down the outer side. So he's tried the transitional kick. He has missed the target. It's gone back towards the goal, as you say. And from then, Southport forward pressure. They are just tackling into the ground. It fell, luckily, to the left foot of Matt Doran. He's a beautiful left footer. He wasn't going to miss that one. Umpire Andrew Adair bangs it down in the middle. The Sharks get the clearance. Do they? Through Boston. He's jumped on. The ball stuck underneath him. Bird, the tackler. Umpire Adair says no. We shall ball it up. It's been a fierce contest so far. Sydney Uni usually very clean and very smooth moving. Attacking the ball at pace was Shears. Got the handball out. Clayton's shrugs the tackler. Kicks it to right half forward. There was a mismatch there in size, and Harry Morrison takes the mark for Sydney Uni against Clements. Goes across half back. Austin Lucy, former Aspley Premiership player, who's been reported today already for striking. It was Richards, actually, to right half back. You see, they're just being held up. Southport set up beautifully. Go down the outer side. Bird versus Tape. Ball brought to ground. Davies. Tape overruns. Clark gets in there as well. Southport with all of the numbers. They're intent. Manteet to Clayton. The handball now. Ends up with Big Jed Turner, who decides to use the left foot to advantage. Kicks it to half forward. Good contest at the back there. It's Golden, and hopefully he's going to bring it here towards Stevenson. He should be away. Beautiful kick there by Golden to Stevenson. He's got a runner on the outside. It's Richards. Handballs to Wilson. Left foot kick up towards half forward in the path of Reinhard, but just had too much on the kick, and Reinhard's frustrated as well. Let Wilson know all about it, and we will have a boundary throw-in right where the 50-metre intersects the boundary. Not always best policy to go for team unity there, turning around and giving your teammate a spray when you're 44 points down, 50 points down. Shows the frustration level that Sydney Uni are up at. So umpire tosses it back into play. No winner at ground level. Boston's just wrapped up by Stevenson, and we will have a ball up. 52 metres out from Uni's goal. There's a fair bit, it doesn't look like it, but there's a fair bit of water under the surface here, very splashy. Yeah, we've had a bit of rain in southeast Queensland the last couple of days, but so far no rain today, but definitely
A wet deck out there as Young, under pressure, just gets boot to ball. As the players fight for this one. Again, Boston's in there at the bottom of the pack. Dale. Handball is intercepted by Bird. Ricochets over the boundary line for a throw-in. 80 metres around from uni goal.
Andrew Boston doing a lot of down and dirty in and under work at the moment. And again, we'll have a look at Tom Young's numbers. How many touches has he had so far, Jess?
3.
Yeah, Lee Dale doing a good job on him.
Boston's only had 4, but like you said, Pricey, he's physical, he's in there, he's throwing his weight around as he's his 5th.
Well, there you go, Boston. He uses it to effect down the line. It's punched back inboard dangerously, but kept alive there for Sydney Uni. Barkley can't quite control it. Clements can. Handball now back to Baxter. He gets it to Doran. Doran a floating wobbler towards half forward. Sydney Uni should have it covered. They don't, though. Fife enters the fray. Just burrows through. He tried to barrel through as well. What's going to happen, the umpire says, we'll ball it up, and that's a fair decision. Good tackling effort there by Bartholomew's for Sydney Uni. As the sunshine peeps through, we've got a few clouds around, but it's a lovely morning for footy here at Southport. Or afternoon, I should say. Secondary bounce is going to happen. Tackling effort. Underneath 3 bodies the ball. As Jed Turner tries to pull a few off the pile. Last man coming up with it was Lockie Hares.
5 minutes played in the second. Southport lead by 50 as Fife extracts it. Handballs to Mutu, but he's under pressure. Coming through there, I think, was Reeves. Mutu still trying to win the ball for Southport. It flicks out to Dimmery. Just a quick kick around the corner, but Charlesworth is first to meet it for the Sharks. Handballs to Fife, hemmed up against the boundary line, swings around on the left, high up and under kick. Sydney Uni should have the numbers. Hebron can't mark. Clements picks up a ground level. Handball over the top to Manteet. Centre half forward, drills a pass inside 50. At the back, Hancock screws around on the left, but misses everything, I think. It does. And Sydney Uni can reload.
It's unfortunate there for Hancock. Look, brought it back a long way, though. Geez, he got the angles working. Just a little bit too much. Davies or Tagliabue, the target. Tagliabue. The big unit drops in front and takes a good strong mark for Sydney Uni. Left half back. That is an absolute shank. That was very, very fortunate to hit his shoe, that one. And Clark will take the free kick. Big Tagliabue. Not his best effort. But Clark uses the left foot. Kicks it inside 50. A big pack's going to form. Sydney Uni with the numbers. Basically almost spoil each other. Hebron, Stevenson, he's got the runner there in Bartholomew's. Will it bounce up for him? It does. He's chased well by Seb Tape. He has to come back into the middle. Finds Crockmall. Crockmall now looks to measure it. And, just getting a timely fist in there was Charlesworth. It was going to drop onto the chest there. And Boston will bring the ball out. Right half back, the ball ends up with Josh Baxter.
Baxter, handball over the top to Clayton. Chips it into the path of Ford. Can he keep it in before it runs out of the boundary line? He can. Handball over the top to Shears. Hebron intercepts that one. Turnover. Barron Hay, Fong, Thompson, Barron Hay backwards. All right. Defensive 50 now, Sydney Uni. Morrison switches play, but it goes straight to Mitch Johnson, right in front of goal. Can stroll in and kick it from 12 metres out, and that is his second. Pricey, it's falling apart.
Whew. Well, Mitch Johnson, we said he was a good in, but you don't have to be that good when the opposition's drilling it down your nanny goat 30 metres out directly in front. But it's an indication of the pressure that they have put on. Every time a Sydney University player gets the ball inside defensive 50, they are basically under either physical or mental pressure, and they are falling to pieces at the moment. An outstanding performance from Southport. 8-8-56. The Uni, well, the scoreboard attendant is not standing over that side. Let's put it that way. He hasn't had to bother. Beautiful day for Neefel TV, and thanks again to our proud supporters in Elastoplast. Might have to get an extra couple of rolls down to Sydney Uni's room at the moment. They're getting belted.
So ball back in the middle. Hall against Lucy. Too unlikely ruckman. It spills out to Mutu. Just gets around one. Handball is chopped off though. Barron Hay at the bottom of that pack. And we will have a ball up, and we've inched 15 metres closer to the students' goal.
So we'll ball it up again. Fong collects it for Sydney Uni again. He has but a millisecond to do anything before he's dropped like a bad habit in the middle of the centre square. 56 plays zip at the moment in favour of the Southport Sharks. Hall, fists it forward. It's towed forward. Everything coming together. That was just a hack, and it ended up falling into the arms of Clements. Chips it in front of Johnson. It was a beautiful pass. Bounced off the large pecs of Johnson. Gets the handball away. Gets it to Hancock. Kicks it inside. Oh, Noah Corbett does beautifully to Fife. Clayton from 45. Standing start and one behind. So they're playing with them at the moment. 8-9-57 plays 0 into the second quarter here at Fankhauser.
Richards brings it back in. Lovely kick to right half back. Finds Lucy on the lead. He goes inboard. Bird marks on the 50-metre line. Hasn't got a lot of run. Unsure where to go. Just tries to dance around Fife. A little handball over the top. Doesn't hit its target. Luckily, Thompson's there to pick it up for the students. Fires out a handball to Barron Hay, but it didn't hit its target. Now he's under pressure. Handball's wide. Goulden. Short kick. Reinhard, right half back. And we're back to where we started. There's Reinhard. Dangerous switch. Inside defensive 50. Dimmery marks. Kicks out wide to a running Richards. Takes a few steps. Long driving kick. He's got Davies in space and he marks. This is a better build-up from the students. Davies turns around. Bonnie free in space just inside forward 50. He then wants to switch it inboard. The kick doesn't hit its target. Clayton marks. Southport can rebound.
That shows you how they've got into Damien Bonnie's head today. He is an exquisite player with great skills. That kick missed the target by nearly 10 metres. Absolutely outrageous as Southport come out of defence. Mutu down the outer wing. That's a push in the back. It could have been a mark close to Kai Shears, but it was a push in the back. Umpire saw it clearly. He'll get the free kick. Southport Sharks, 57. Uni yet to score. Again, they return the favour here. Shears, he returns the favour and gives it to Damien Bonnie. So he's missed his target by 5 metres. So Sydney Uni with a rare chance. He measures it inside 50, looking for Derricks, and that could have been an obstruction against Davies, but nothing doing. Ball hits the deck. Craig Bird toes it forward, and he's ushered over the boundary line by Ryan Davis. 40 metres out. We'll get a throw in.
And just going back to that last mark from Damien Bonnie, Pricey, as one of the leaders of this football club, he had the distance from 50 metres. I felt like it just sort of should have slowed things down. He kicked a genuine goal of the year contender last week from 50 metres out in the boundary. He is a great player.
No doubt.
And I just think he should have almost gone back.
Taken the responsibility and said, I'll take it on,
and
fellas.
even just to slow the tempo down because Southport are playing this game with such pace. They're just killing them.
Well, it's inside attacking 50 for the students at the moment. See what they can do. Bonnie goes in, tries to tow it off the deck. Picked up there by Stevenson. It's smothered over the boundary line. Another throw in, left forward pocket. And Southport leading 57-0. What have we got as far as inside 50s go, Jess?
Well, the Sharks 27-8, and they're leading the clearances as well, 16-5.
So the throw in, Austin Lucy goes up against Hall. Hall wins it decisively down to Clayton. Gets a handball away. Davis curls it around. Intelligent kick. Couldn't get maximum purchase on it, but he got maximum position. Jed Turner did beautifully, outpointed Richards and kicked it long. It's going to bounce in between Hebron and Hancock. And Hebron took it over the boundary line, and we'll get another throw in with Southport pressing. Second term, already 10 goals in front.
Just unbelievable scenes at the moment as we see Xavier Richards has hobbled off for Sydney University. They can't afford another injury with Nathan Cooper already out of the game with a right ankle injury. We'll keep an eye on that one on NEFL TV as the umpire tosses the ball back in. Spills out the back. Southport now with a chance. Manteet's kick to half forward. Intercepted by Hebron, who runs out of real estate, and we will have a throw in 50 metres around.
I've got to say, the Cabana Lounge that we broadcast from here on NEFL TV and the beautiful clubhouse at the Sharks Fankhauser Reserve, even the Southport patrons are stunned. They're usually having a little bit more of a murmur and a laugh, but they are absolutely stunned and enjoying this game of football. So
from the throw in, Boston just wheels around the corner. Johnson has 2 to beat. He somehow still keeps it alive. but a tackle comes in and we will have a ball up right in the hotspot, 15 metres out from Southport's goal.
Yeah, Mitch Johnson, be very difficult to remove off the ball. He's very short to the ground. He's almost a square.
So Bird clears this one for the Students to centre half back. Bonnie first to meet it, under pressure as he has been all day. Reinhardt with a rush kick outside defensive 50. Barron Hay just comes out to meet it. Handballs to Crockmore, spills out to Stevenson. He shows a bit of toe. Long driving kick, one-on-one contest. Davies has the sit, taped it really well to affect that spoil, and then wins the ball at ground level. Fires out a handball to Kenny, back to Tape. Has all the time in the world to assess his options. Handball out wide to Mantee. Back to Tape again. The co-captain's getting his possessions up. Handballs backwards to Mantee. And he wants to go very far back to Clark in the left back pocket for the Sharks. Dances around Lucy and then fires a kick to defensive 50. Charlesworth marks a left half back.
What great stuff from Seb Tate there. I reckon he must have given himself nearly half a dozen possessions in that last 2.5 minutes, but he did beautifully. Great defensive effort. And Southport just sort of playing with them as they come out of defence as well. Goes down the outer wing. That's a beautiful lead, and it's honoured. Hits Baxter. Baxter just holding it up. They're content. They're 10 goals in front.
Why not?
Come at us, boys, they say, as Boston receives it. Nice orange fluoro Pumas that Andrew Boston El Mucho is wearing today. He waxes, gets another couple to his stats tally. Back to Charlesworth. Handball across now. Ends up with Seb Tape. They've got what they wanted, which is the outnumber. If the ball sits in for them, well done there. The ball sits with O'Shea. At right half forward, Hebron. Controlled and tackled to the ground there by Hancock. Good pressure football. There's, again, nothing much Hebron could do. Takes it over the boundary line. We'll get a throw in, Jess.
It's a good battle, though, between Hebron and Hancock at the moment.
Agreed.
Hebron can hold his head high. As the umpire tosses it back in. Throw in, wing position. Hall against Tagliabue. Spills out to Stevenson. He just runs straight into Mantee. That is almost holding the ball.
Almost.
I thought he might have had Pryor.
He's had Pryor and he threw it. End of story. It was holding the ball. Not called. Blindsided again when you've got your back turned. The umpire can't see it. So Tagliabue gets in front of Hall. Hall out positions him. Ball hits the deck. Boston shoots a handball out. Doran scoops it up. He's tackled beautifully. Still gets it to his boot. Craig Bird for the Students. Handballs it forward. Tape. Handball, then tackled. Nothing doing. Good. Let it go. Hares. Bounces it to 50. Austin Lucy just did not have his eyes completely on the agate there. Clark hooks it. Back inside is Lee Dale, who's giving Tom Young a bath at the moment. Gets it forward over the head of Clements. Will it come back to Clements? It's Hancock. Turner. Oh, good vision, big man. Good vision, Jed Turner. He's been to more clubs than Slim Dusty, but he just lowered the eyes, hit Lee Dale 50 metres out directly in front.
And great running from Lee Dale there. Obviously, looks like he's got a roll on Tom Young, or at least switching it up in that midfield, but he ran forward to be an option up forward, and it was really well done.
So Lee Dale got a goal last week. Leans back. It starts right and drops short. One behind results. So 8 goals, 10, 58 to Southport. And the uni students, big duck egg, nothing.
Hebron marks in right back pocket for the Students. A drive and kick outside defensive 50. Lucy on the lead. Hugged up against the boundary line. Short kick inboard again. Misses its target. Chance for the Sharks. Davis inside 50. Johnson on the lead.
Yeah. It's almost, you know what I said about the quarter time siren? Let's just fast forward. Tom Morrison is waiting. Let's review this. Let's not even review this at the moment. You wouldn't review the first half. It's not worth it. There's too many fundamental errors. They know what they're doing wrong. Southport are just applying all sorts of pressure. And Sydney Uni, they wouldn't know what's going wrong right now. They just can't pull it back because Southport have got so much ascendancy.
So Johnson coming in for his third on the approach from 40 on the right boot. Umpire doesn't do a lot of work. And that is another. Southport absolutely on fire at Fankhauser Reserve. 9-10-64. Students yet to score nearly 20 minutes into the second term.
You know, when I used to read a magazine called Inside Football, and at the back it used to have all of the scores from around Australia, amateurs, VFL, all of that, and you always used to look at those scores where it said 354-0 and think, wow, I'm glad I didn't play against them. This is getting absolutely out of hand. For top of the table here, we're talking Sydney Uni, visiting an understrength Southport at home. They're third on the ladder, and Southport absolutely serving it up to Sydney Uni on a platter. Absolutely amazing. Jed Turner flies in the ruck. Handball down to Clayton. Clayton skies it inside 50. Body work supreme, but he just dropped the ball, did Baxter. Did all the hard work and then didn't take the mark. But there's still a chance, Sydney. And tackling pressure, again amazing. The ball spills forward in front of Boston. Boston tackled by Wilson. Lets loose the ball. O'Shea, back to Baxter. Baxter runs in. They're peppering. It's almost, this is... Sydney Uni shouldn't be wearing blue and yellow at the moment. They should be wearing orange and white because they're dead set traffic cones. This is amazing stuff.
It's just hard to see where they're going to get a goal from. It's they don't look like.
What's the pressure? You've got to give all credit.
Example. Just unbelievable. So Sydney University again under pressure. Hancock at the bottom of the pack. Clement fires out a handball to Boston. Just fends one off. Handballs to Clayton. They're under a bit of pressure though. Mantee, Charlesworth dances around one. Handball over the top. Snapshot on goal from Clayton. It's wayward. Off to the right. Coming back was Barkley with the spoil. Did really well to affect that contest, and the ball spills over the boundary line. Throw in, 30 metres out.
Couple of players down, Jess. Harry Morrison for Sydney Uni is down, and we've got Kai Shears for Southport. There was that big clash, just both slow to get back up. I think it might have been a clash of the melons as well. You'd expect them to hold the game up here instead of throwing the ball in because you've got the player down just behind the scenes. As Kai Shears gets up, manages a jog up too. Tough young unit is coming off, so we will get the throw in. Right forward pocket for Southport. 20 scoring shots to nothing. Coming up here, Fankhauser reserve. Jed Turner versus Tagliabue. Tagliabue gets the tap down. It's picked up there by Dimmery. He's tackled. Kicks it forward. Davis. Too easy, the brush off from Davis. Curls it around. And well taken there by Hebron, who I think is probably one of the very few shining lights so far in Sydney's side.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, Pricey, as Hebron sends it outside defensive 50. Reinhard have front spot. That's a good contested mark by Reinhard. So left half back for the Students. Again, wants to switch it in board. It pays off. This is Hares. He wants to switch it further. He's got Goulden in space. Short kick up the wing. Finds Thompson. He goes long. He's got Wilson in a bit of space and it hits him too. But he drops the mark. Now he's under pressure by Reeves. Good tackle. Handballs to Crockmore. Under pressure. Kick inside forward 50. Coming out to meet it was Derricks. Clark wasn't letting him get it going anywhere. Ball spills over the boundary line. Throw in 40 metres out from Students' goal.
It looks like they got done last week for the first time. It deflated their bubble a bit. Then they got belted on the track and they haven't recovered. Something like that. I've got no idea, but I'm still trying to find reasons outside of the fact that Southport have physically and utterly just spanked them. It's Boston. Burst through. Clements. Handball over the top to Doran. Doran on the left foot. Semi-smothered. Hebron. He's done well, but the ball over the back and it ends up with Hancock. Touches the ball on the ground. Loops a handball over the top. He had to reach back forward and try and get it. Picks it up. Spears a pass towards Hall. It lands around the ankles. Good work from Barkley. Gets the ball away. Hares. They're under a lot of pressure. High tackle possibly. Bartholomew's all holding the ball. One of the two. If it wasn't high, it was holding the ball. So there you go. It's falling to pieces for the Students in the top. And there you are, Josh Hall, who's got a little bit of a limp up as well. I thought Bartholomew's under a lot of pressure.
Barkley did well in that 50-50 contest, and just his handball just put him under pressure. Had too much height on it. As Hall, he can come in for his second.
Well, 7 disposals and a goal in his return after nearly 3 years last week. Geez, he hooks the fat side of the ball. So fat, in fact, he gets it across the face of goal. And it's out of bounds on the full. Sydney Uni bringing it back in. Craig Bird directing traffic as he runs down left half back. Has a bounce. Kicks it in front of the commentary box. Just reading it beautifully. Clark Davis locked the man down in Derricks. Clark float across the top. Beautiful bit of defensive play.
They play a zone defence really well, do Southport. They don't necessarily have specific roles, but they all chip in and do their bit, and it's worked wonders for them this season as Clayton hurry kick inside forward 50. Hebron first to meet it, just slaps it to Barkley. Handballs back to Hebron. Hebron handballs in space. No one there really for the students, and the ball luckily trickles out of bounds. Throw in 15 metres around from Southport's goal.
So let me get this straight. I'm just going to pinch myself here. You keep an eye on the footy. 9-11-65. You've got 35 plus Southport in the disposals. 33 inside 50s to 10. A shellacking.
Tagliabue front spot, but it'll be Boston first to meet it. Handballs backwards to Mutu. Hemmed up against the boundary line. Screws are kicked around to the hot spot. Contest forms. Students under pressure again. Barkley just emerges with it, but handball is smothered. Hancock on hands and knees, spills out to Tom Young. Little dinky kick in the path of Dimmery. He keeps it alive against the boundary line. Then a hurried kick outside defensive 50. Seb Tape spoils Reinhard. Throw in 55 metres out from Southport's goal.
Not a hell of a lot they can do at the moment. It's sheer dominance. Tom Young. Again, you can actually see young Lee Dale, number 16, running around with him. And keeping Tom Young, the 2015 NEFL MVP, to only the 4 disposals, crucial in the development of this game. The students bring it back into the corridor. Good little fist in there from O'Shea. Got it over the back. It's Reeves. Pet gets a handball intercepted by Davies, who scrubs it forward. Derricks, what can he do? He's 1 out against 3. He basically does the right thing, allows himself to be tackled so there can be a stoppage formed. He was 3 against 1. Where was his mates? They're still jogging up to the contest as we speak. There'll be a ball up at centre half forward.
25 minutes played in the second term. Sydney Uni still yet to score as Bird wins the clearance, kick to the hot spot. Derricks ended up having to fist it instead of taking the mark. It was out of position as the ball trickles over the goal line, and there you have it. Sydney University's first score of the afternoon. 9-11-65 plays 1 rushed behind. 25 and a half gone in the second.
And the ironic cheers there weren't from Sydney Uni. They were from the Southport bar. Fantastic work there. Tagliabue, that's better. Strong against Turner. Gets the handball away. Hares inside 50. Big fly-fisted forward. Front and centre there was Wilson. Can't quite do what he wanted to with the ball. Seb Tape comes in. It's hacked out of defence. Turner and Tagliabue. This time Turner in front. Got a little bit of a nudge in the back. Bartholomew's. It was a bit of a bump, actually. And for a big man, he shouldn't have gone down that easy against a little fella. So I'm with the umpire on that one. And we'll get a ball up. Left half forward, Tagliabue versus Turner.
Tagliabue straight down the throat of Dimmery, but Teat lays an important tackle and wraps him up. And we'll do it all again. Haven't moved anywhere.
Just having a look at some of the body language there on the bench. You look at Sam Fong and Alston Lucy ready to come back on for Sydney Uni. They're hunched over. It's not even half time.
Barkley, hurried kick inside 50. What can the students manufacture? Clark drops the mark. Ground level is Tape. He just a bit of a barrel outside 50. Corbett to Fife to Clayton. Chips it into space. It'll be Morrison first to meet it for the students. Handball's inboard. It's Goulden though. Couldn't collect it. Coming in to lay a tackle was Davis.
Great defensive effort there too from Wade Hancock, and this is the stuff that they're doing. I think the tackling stats are reasonably similar, but the effect of those tackles and how they're tackling, I think, is very different, Jess.
Stevenson wins the clearance for the students. Ricochets to Reinhardt, just wheels around and sends it inside 50, but taking the defensive mark is Kenny for the Sharks. Handballs to Tape. Left foot kick, outside defensive 50, Corbett in space. Unbelievable stuff from Noah Corbett, just getting out into space quite easily, but then again he's got plenty of friends at the moment, chipping it down the wing. Josh Hall's made his way up, no. It was Reeves, in fact. Kicks it now. Teat, Dale, spun out beautifully, give the handball to Davis. Davis just tries to measure a pass, puts it out in the path. Take your pick. Could have raffled it between the two of them, but Hancock was the one who ended up taking the ball. He's right on 50, 45 metres, 45-degree angle. Good lead, good pass. Teat takes the mark, and it's 40 metres out. Maybe a sharper angle, but he's a good kick for goal. Is Teat kicked 9 goals, 8 for the year. They just didn't roll back quick enough, the Uni defence. I watched Hebron. He actually was marking both Johnson and Hancock. He actually made the decision to go back and mark Johnson deep in 50 and kind of let Hancock have that free space.
So Michael Manteet wants to join the scoreboard. Leans back. It's too skinny. One behind result. So that is the half-time score. 9-12, 66 to 1 point. It's a 65-point belting in favour of Southport. And just who saw this coming? 3 goals to Mitch Johnson, 2 to Noah Corbett. Jed Turner's got 1, Matt Doran 1, Kai Shears 1, and Josh Hall 1. And, well, we don't need to bother with the goal scorers with regards to Sydney Uni. 1 behind results. Nobody saw this coming. Southport, total and utter domination of this game.
Absolutely. This is genuinely Southport's weakest side of the year. They don't have Thurlow, Jaden Young, who's in their leadership group, Brody Murdoch, who was having a fantastic season in defence, Tyler Roos has really played his role this year in defence, and Tom Wilkinson. All of those players are out and coming in, but I really loved Corbett's played his role today. Matt Doran's got his name on the goal sheet, and Dylan Mutu as well. Let's just have a look. He's had 11 touches in the first half. They've all played their role. The players that have come in today, I think, have really contributed to just the intensity level, the aggression at the football, and the way that they are moving the football, using the wide open spaces of Fankhauser Reserve, have really caught Sydney Uni.
Oh, what's caught Sydney Uni is the fact that they can't get the agate, the pill, the plum. They're not getting it. 85 minus. Southport 85 up in disposals. So that's almost another half a game in disposals in front of them. What I like is the clearances 23 to 11 and the inside 50s 34 to 14. So out of the 34, they've got 21 scoring shots. The 14 Sydney Uni, 1 point. So it is complete and utter domination, and they've got some more bad news because they've lost Nathan Cooper for the game.
Yeah, just looking down at ground level, and Nathan Cooper on crutches with a right ankle injury, and Xavier Richards, who came off during that quarter, he's got ice on his left hamstring. He is hobbling. He's not coming back on. Sydney University will play with 2 less players and 2 less superstar players and 2 key defenders for the second half.
Yeah, so they've lost 2 key defenders, so that's 2 rotations down. They've got 2 players under report, Austin Lucy and Damien Bonney, for striking. They are 65 points down on an away trip where they've got the advantage as far as the list goes. Let's see how good the second half goes for Sydney Uni. Southport doing it easy by 65 points at half-time. Streaming live on Neefle TV with our broadcast partner, Bar TV. Proudly supported by Elastoplast, Michael Price and Jess Webster. Back with the second half very soon. Welcome back to Southport on the Gold Coast for NEFL Round 10. It's the Southport Sharks at home to Sydney Uni. That's third versus first. Southport with 5-3. And Sydney Uni, their first loss last week, so they're 7-1. Currently, it's the home side, half-time, 9-12-66 to Sydney Uni, 1 behind. You heard right, 9-12-66 to Southport to 1 behind. 3 goals to Mitch Johnson for Southport, 2 to Corbett, 1 for Turner, Doran, Shears and Hall. Of course, no goal scorers for Sydney Uni. There's been a couple of big stories, 2 reports, Austin Lucy and Damien Bonney for striking. You've got Nathan Cooper, who is out for the game with an ankle. Looks like Xavier Richards out with a hammy for the rest of the day as well. So they're down 2 rotations, Sydney Uni. Southport are flogging them, Jess Webster.
It's a bad day at the office, Pricey. If there's any good thing to come out of this game for Sydney University, no matter what happens, they will not lose top spot on the ladder. They've got a 2-game buffer. Looks like Sydney will beat Redland, and Southport will win today, so that gap closes to 4 points. Umpire
Andrew Adair bangs it down in the middle for NEFL TV. Second half, whistle on play immediately. Comes from a centre square infringement by the looks of it, and it will go to Craig Bird. Sydney Uni get a break in the middle of the ground. It's a long kick, inside 50. Already there's a wrestling effort as Clark takes a juggling mark in front of Tom Young. And guess what? They're into Damien Bonney again. He dead set must have a target on his forehead at the minute, Damien Bonney. They don't like him much. A Southport chip it forward. Lee Dale, who's been running with Tom Young and has kept him to 4 disposals so far. Southport doing it as they please in defence. Bringing it across to the commentary side. Mutu. He's got Seb Tape on the lead. Hits him in front of Thompson. Seb Tape chipping it forward. Geez, lucky to keep it in. Well done to Reeves. And Southport just controlling the ball as they have done all throughout that first half, Jess.
Absolutely. So it looked like from that first centre clearance, Tom Young maybe heading forward this quarter as the long kick up the wing. Fisted down, Mutu first to meet it. Handballs to Clayton, inboard to Tape, spins out of a tackle, backwards to Reeves. He chips it back even further. Left half back for the Sharks. Davis takes the mark.
Denying them the ball yet again. We saw at half time, Southport were 85 disposals ahead of Sydney Uni, and that pattern's already repeating itself.
So long kick up the commentary side wing. 1-on-1 contest between the two ruckmen. Bounces over the back. Baxter keeps it in. Handball's inboard to Ford. Handball over the top, back to Clements. Has a bit of space. Kick inside 50. Hancock against Morrison, and the ball off hands for a boundary throw-in, 40 metres around from Southport's goal.
Again, looking dangerous as they move forward, Southport. They'll be shooting to the goal on the left of screen in the third quarter. Ball at ground level. Jed Turner and Tagliabue get down and dirty for the ball. Stuck underneath the pair of the big men, and they'll get up and do it again. Still a little bit of feeling. There's been plenty of physicality in this game. Tagliabue double hands it blindly over the back. Picked up there by Ford. Nice smothering effort by Craig Bird. Takes it over the boundary line. We'll get a throw in 30 metres out. It's in the left forward pocket for Southport, leading by 65 points early doors, third quarter. NEFL TV.
So an early chance for Southport. The ball inside their forward 50. Tagliabue has front spot. Tap down, no winners at ground level. And the ball spills out. Bird hooks it around the corner. A high up and under kick. Underneath it is Charlesworth. He drops the mark. Wilson at ground level. Handballs to Thompson, and he's just thrown over the boundary line. Holding the ball, says the umpire. And it'll be Dylan Mutu, the recipient of the free kick. Quick to play it on. Handballs over the top to Charlesworth. Perhaps not the best decision. Charlesworth is wrapped up by Monty Crockmull, and we will have a ball up 50 metres out from Southport goal.
Yeah,
left half forward.
Unfortunate decision there by Mutu because it was a ripping tackle, wasn't it? Absolutely poleaxed him into the ground, gave him no opportunity.
So umpire restarts play. Forward. Handball into space, but it's Thompson for the students. And again, gang tackled over the boundary line. They're just all over them, Pricey. Their tackling intensity and pressure has been first class today.
There is tackling, and there is tackling with intent, and they are tackling with intent. They are bringing it to the table in front of their home fans here, the Southport Sharks at Fankhauser Reserve. Tap down to Boston. He lets loose the ball. Bird gets it for Sydney Uni. Hooks it out of defence, and it's taken there by Clark. It's going to come back in very quickly. He's got a couple of short options. Chooses one of them in Clayton. Clayton's got the journey. He's got the journey. He plays on. Just didn't have the room on the mark. Puts it to the top of the square. It's a nice mark taken by Crochmore. Monty Crochmore has basically been there. Oh, sorry, it's Ryan Hebron. I was going to say he's basically been one of their better players, Ryan Hebron, in defence. It's brought out there. Reinhardt takes the diving effort.
So Reinhardt still inside defensive 50 for the Students. Not sure where to go. He's called to play on. He goes backwards to Hebron, 15 metres out from goal. On the mark is Johnson. Kicked 3 goals already today as Hebron goes wide. Barkley, right half back, switches inboard to Wilson in space. Patient build up by the Students. Southport in their zone defence have played it very well as Wilson chips short, but he's put Thompson under pressure. He gets out of trouble, dances around forward, and then he's got to be careful he doesn't run too far. He switches it wide to a running Bartholomew's. Spearing kick is chopped off by Manteet. Quick hands, and now the kick into space. Downfield free kick. And advantage is paid. Kick inside 50. Hancock. Baron Hay comes out to spoil. Clements. Handballs to Hancock, who just spins out of trouble. Runs to 45. Has a shot. Misses to the left. That would have been some goal by Hancock. 9-13-67. Plays one behind. 5 minutes played in the third.
So it's back to 11 goals straight. Southport leading this one. The Students yet to score a goal. Hebron brings it back in. That's a hefty-looking kick, kicking it towards Bonnie. Racing there and missing the target. There was Davis. Manteet. Davis chasing now. There's a biggest chance for a goal here. Sydney Uni. Tom Young had his jumper held by Dale. Dale still right beside the former MVP. And between them, they'll conspire to take it over the boundary line. No. Comes back out there to Clark. He toes it, misses. Picked up there by Crockmall, who just toes it forward. Another behind. So Sydney Uni get their second behind. Back to 65 points. Southport leading this one early, third term. Sneefel TV through Bar TV, our broadcast partner. Clark
brings it back in for the Sharks. Kicks outside defensive 50. Running onto it is Mutu. Can't collect it. Goulden mops it up. High kick inside 50. Flirts the boundary line. Out of bounds on the full, the umpire is called. Free kick Southport. Left back pocket. So Charlesworth to take the free kick. Chips inboard. Davis in front of Crockmall.
They're just content to hold it up.
Yep. Chips outside defensive 50. Shears is all alone. How they keep finding free players has been a big question, I think, here today. Is Shears just high, up and under kick on the wing. Turner wrestles with Baron Hay. Turner gives away the free kick.
He manhandled him, Jed Turner.
He sure did. Baron Hay to reload for the Students.
Darcy Baron Hay, member of the Neefel Team of the Year 2017. Goes the 45 kick towards the corridor, finds Stevenson. Tried hard so far today. One of the few I can actually safely say has done so. Kicked it inside half forward and then reading it beautifully. The young fella Charlesworth, the Rising Star nominee, gets it across half back and finds Clayton. Content to go back to Clark at the top of the goal square. As I say, Southport in no hurry. They're leading by 11 goals. Sydney Uni playing like a side that is 11 goals down with 5 minutes to go of the game, let alone a half. Don't mean to be disparaging, but it's a very, very disheartening effort so far. Charlesworth chips it forward. Ethan Reeves. And again, Charlesworth and Damien Bonney just having a few words. So they obviously think that you get inside him, you get inside the whole Sydney Uni team. Boston goes for it, dropped by Crockmall. Ball spills and will go over the boundary line. Well done there by Kai Shears, who's kicked a goal today.
So Boston, just the 15 disposals today. Clayton leads all comers on the ground with 22. Bird up to 20 for the Students, including 5 clearances and 5 rebound 50s.
Davies in the ruck against Hall then. Comes back there to Reeves. El Mucho Boston kicks it inside 50. Here's a go, the big and the small. Clements nearly won it. In fact, he ends up with the ball, or Barkley, or part of the ball and Barkley, and the ball stuck underneath both of them. 45 metres out, the umpire will ball it up. 65 points the margin it is here at Fankhauser Reserve. It's Neefel round 10, first versus third.
So, ball up from the ball up. Dimmery just extracts it. High up and under kicked true centre half back. Wilson can't mark, but it falls his way after a handball from Bonnie. Short kick up to Young. Marks in front of Dale. Quick to play on. He affected the kick. Falls inside forward 50. Derricks picks up. Handballs to Lucy. Check side snap on the right. Is that the first goal? No, it isn't. Minor score, Southport 9-13-67, Sydney Uni 3 behinds.
Some old school football commentators might have said, "Where's your left foot, son?" Right there. It used to advantage people like Jason Ackermanis, being able to use both sides of your body. You could kick him from anywhere. As the ball went over the boundary line, to be a free kick to Craig Bird. Sydney Uni, the former Essendon and Swans player. Lots of experience. That drops and puts his teammate under enormous pressure, and Hancock makes him pay. The ball with Mutu inside 50. Will Johnson get there? Will Baron Hay get there? Baron Hay gets there first. Good defensive effort. Rushes it through for a behind. It's 9-14, 68 to 3 straight behinds as the Uni bring the ball back in.
Long driving kick finds Goulden outside 50. Chips in board Dimmery. Swings it further wide to Barkley in space. Goes for a bit of a run. Long kick up towards the wing. Derrick's a long way from home. Marks out aside. Swings it in board. Great kick to Crockmore. He wants to play on, but he's run down. And that is holding the ball.
Oh.
Ethan Reeves. Fantastic effort. When you're this far in front to still chase like that, you know you're having a good day. Absolutely.
0 out of 10 for awareness there, though, from Crockmore as Clark takes the ball back to Davis. Davis has got a man right out here by himself, commentary side as Doran. Hits him with a 40-metre pass. Nice. So at left half back, Doran. He's got a couple of options. Goes for one of them. Again, Hebron probably... Sydney's best, not probably, he is Sydney's best player today. Kicks it to right half forward. Good contest. Well done there by Doran for Southport. Put the physical pressure on his opposite number there in Ned Reinhardt. Took it over the boundary line. We'll get a throw in.
Hebron, 13 disposals, 7 marks, 7 rebound 50s today. He's tried his absolute hardest.
Yeah, 7 rebound 50s. You get a lot of players doing that for the whole game. It's half a game of football he's had to endure inside defence for Sydney Uni.
Umpire, shallow throw in. Easy tap for Hall. Straight down to Boston. Just thumps it towards a contest, but Sydney University will win out. Bartholomew's handball doesn't hit the target, and Thompson just allows it, I guess, to go over the boundary line. But he had 3 on him, so...
It's the little things, like, I don't mean to be disparaging about Charlie Ford. He's not a little thing, but the little things that he does as a small man. Just... going over there, the little nudge, the little thing in the ear saying, mate, that was hopeless. Just getting into Sydney Uni in every facet. And they're folding like an origami tournament. It's amazing.
Yep, they're in a bit of trouble, Sydney University. Haven't seen them play like this probably...
ever.
At least the last 3 years, I don't think. As Thompson handballs to Dimmery. Snap around the corner, no mark taken. Charlesworth off the deck, his kick intercepted by Hares. He kicks it inside the centre square. Derricks drops it uncontested mark. Clark at the back, handballs to Davis. Got time and space, he's got Baxter over the top. He crosses forward 50, spear and kick to the hot spot. Hebron to save the day for Sydney University. Handballs to Baron Hay. He goes over the top to Morrison. Spins out of a tackle, short kick, Stevenson, short kick inboard, to centre half back, finds Hares.
So Hares goes out to the outer side. Finds his teammate there in Wilson. plays on. Little left foot chipping ball in front of Fong. Didn't have to change stride. Took it on the chest. Spears a pass to Tom Young. It went around his knees. He couldn't quite handle it. Fong back to Bonnie. Tackled before he had the ball. Just got his toe to it. Tagliabue, the Mexican wrestler, tries the figure four leg lock on him. Gets it back to Seb Tape. Tape across the face of goal, and they run it out easily through Dore, and there's the numbers. Lee Dale now. Chips it to Davis. Hits the target. Davis wants to move it. He's got Clayton on the inside. He's got Baxter leading. Waits for the leader. Baxter drops it in front of him. 60 from goal. Right half forward. He's got Mitch Johnson on the move. Umpire says, hurry up, kick the ball. He does. Puts it on the head of Johnson. Craig Bird spoils. It was Hancock with the effort there. Brought it to ground. Oh, Barkley tackled. Ball underneath everybody. 30 metres from goal will have a ball up. Umpire Adair says, give it to me, fellas. We'll throw it up right here. 65 points the margin, Jess, after Southport led by that same margin at half-time. Through a couple of behinds apiece in this quarter.
So Bird from the ball up. He's wrapped up and we'll do it all again. 30 metres out from Southport's goal. 15 minutes played in the third quarter. Oh, you mentioned Pricey. 65 points the margin. University have not scored a goal. As Clark, the ball spills to him. He's going nowhere. Sydney University still trying to rebound this ball. Hall, he can't gather it. Hares is in there, just taps it out, but Southport first to meet it. Now it falls to Clayton, slaps it, but straight down to Tagliabue. He's wrapped up, trying to get boot to ball. It's not falling his way. Charlesworth picks it up. Handballs to Clayton. Now it opens up for Southport. Reeves fends off Fong. Short kick into Hancock's direction. Can't mark. Bartholomew's mops up for the students. Handballs on the path of Thompson. Goes backwards to Hebron. Short kick outside defensive 50. No mark taken. Southport still a chance. Baxter. Back to... I couldn't pick up the goal kicker, but that is another one to Southport. Pricey, help me out. Who was that one? O'Shea, we think it was. Again, the forward pressure from Southport. Sydney University under all sorts of pressure, and they just kept fighting for that ball. Did not give up on the contest, Pricey.
And they've been doing it all day. They haven't given up on the contest. Well done there by O'Shea. He basically just scrubbed it forward, and it went through about 4 sets of legs. So very fortunate. But... again, everything they're trying in that regard is coming out a winner, but it is based on their forward pressure, their tackling, their physicality, their mental efforts. Absolutely extraordinary here. And I've got to say, there's some Sydney University players that they won't want to see any of this tape so far because it's damning evidence of a lack of work off the ball. And that's what's destroying them so far. Tagliabue, he gets the tap down. Sam Fong, sky ball towards centre half forward. Back of the pack, Charlesworth can't quite take it. Here's a go for Damien Bonney. Can't quite control it, and then he's tackled. Davies basically taken off the ball. Davis tackled by Davies. Closely related, I'm sure, somewhere down Ancestry.com. But it'll be a ball up 45 metres out. It's inside Sydney Uni's 50. Let's see if they can get a goal out of this. Tagliabue. Bird. Wheels around. Handball now is coming to Golden, who's changed numbers from 41 to 36 after it was torn off him in the melee earlier. Southport through Clayton, leading all comers with disposals so far today. He gets another one. Now chips it out, and it's going to hit Baxter on the commentary side.
So Baxter marks in front of Hebron. Hebron, good pressure on the mark. Baxter good enough to find Fife. Just inside the boundary line. Left foot spear and kick out of bounds on the full. Chance for Sydney University to reload through Hares. He wants to go backwards inside defensive 50 to Barron Hay. Short kick on the 45 to Goulden. He's got a bit of time now. He drives it inside the centre square. Reinhardt on the lead, can't mark. Crockmole at ground level. He's under pressure though by Charlesworth. And now it falls away of Southport, but Baxter's handball intercepted by Wilson. He couldn't find a target. Now Southport a chance. Manteep backwards to Fife. Short kick towards the boundary line. Clements just tapped it to his own advantage over Barkley. Then a short kick. Turner on the lead. It's looking good for Southport. He wheels around on the left. One-on-one contest. But it couldn't be marked by Shears. Good contest, though. Spills over the boundary line for a throw-in right to the left-hand side of the point post.
And many of the players on the ground getting inside, attacking 50 for Southport. They've only kicked the 1-2 in this quarter, but that still would outscore Sydney Uni's 3 behinds for the whole game. Ruck contest, Craig Bird immediately tackled into the ground on top of their Noah Corbett, and in fact there's 4 other players involved. It's only 15 metres out, directly in front from the Southport goal. Another big ruck contest. Tagliabue and Hall. Hall over the back, slapped it down. It was Reeves who receives, then gets tackled. Ball stuck underneath him. Well done. It was Dimmery by the looks of things who got that one.
So, ball up. Southport are pressing. Here's a chance. Fife rows it. Left foot snap. That has got to be a goal of the day. Fantastic work from Dylan Fife. That's what he brings to this Southport side, Price. He started the season in really great form, perhaps tapered off a little bit, but that right there shows you his true talent. Fantastic goal.
Hemmed in on the boundary line, and he had a millisecond to get rid of that. Got it onto the left shoe, hooked it around effectively, and got enough on it as well for a goal. Brilliant little Rovers goal from Dylan Fife, the Tasmanian. He's only 168 centimetres, but he's got some pace and he's got some skill as well. Well done, Southport, with their 11th goal. 26 scoring shots to 3 as we play around about 10 minutes of the third quarter. Sorry, about 20 minutes of the third quarter. It's Neefle TV through our broadcast partner Bar TV. Our cameraman Tim can't believe what's going on here. 77 points the margin. Shaking his head as Tagliabue taps it down to himself, kicks it. The umpire says we'll bring it all back. Now, we're just still in a little bit of a state of shock, not to oversell it, but Southport absolutely dominating the team that's on top of the ladder who failed to score a goal nearly 3 quarters into a game of football.
Clearances 29-16 Southport's way. Inside 50s 45-20.
As Sydney Uni get another inside 50. Southport with the numbers in defence. Wilson roves it nicely though. Hurried left foot. Tom Young advantaged by the fall of the ball. Can't quite take the diving mark. Seb Tape scoops it up beautifully. Gets the handball away under a lot of pressure. Gets a throw in. 35 metres out from their goal does Sydney Uni. Left forward pocket. Let's see if they can manufacture their first goal of the game.
We need to speak about Lee Dale, Pricey, because he has played his role to perfection today. Can go with Tom Young in the midfield, but has so far held his own in the forward line. That's very, very hard to do. The umpire tosses the ball back in play. Davis, first to meet it. Right foot kick outside defensive 50. Goulden spoils, but Clement's at ground level. Just swings around, chips it to Baxter. Marks in space. Wing position out of side. Just content to hold it up, as we've seen a bit so far this quarter. Kicks laterally to Boston, right up against the boundary line.
But when they're doing this, though, Jess, they're actually hitting their targets. Whereas when Sydney Uni are trying to do the switch and do it slow moving, they're not hitting their targets.
Baxter handballs to Clayton, but he's under pressure. Umpires found a free kick going Clayton's way against Bird. Perhaps a bit tough, that one.
He's tried hard as Craig Bird.
Absolutely. Clayton, short kick wide.
You can see it in the attitude of Josh Clayton there. No, we're taking our time, mate. Just took the mark, sauntered back and had the kick.
Long kick up the wing. Hancock almost marked that and given away the free kick. Advantage paid. Hares for University. Kicks inside centre square, finds Reinhardt in a bit of space. He can drive it inside forward 50. Here's Derricks. Can't mark. Bonnie almost roved it. Couldn't collect it. Southport again get out of trouble. Reeves, short kick into the path of Clark, but had too much on it. Reinhardt, still a chance for Sydney University. Derricks handballs backwards to Hares. Assesses his options. Pops it inside forward 50. No mark. Kenny to Davis. Davis, short kick in space, but good enough to find Mutu. 15 metres out from goal. Swings around. He's got Boston in the right back pocket, all on his own.
So Andrew Boston leading the current MVP standings by a couple of votes. And it's kicked wide out to Seb Tape, who doesn't keep it in. So it's a skill error there from the Sharks. Austin Lucy will get a free kick. He's had a pretty dirty day, has Austin Lucy for Sydney Uni, but he comes in and finds Matthew Wilson. Wilson has the chance to kick the first goal for Sydney Uni.
And we've played 23 and a half minutes in the third quarter.
Originally from North Shore, he was very good last week, and their loss to the Sydney Swans. 8 goals, 7 for the year, Matthew Wilson. From 40, the left foot is left and goes even leftish. It's punched to the top of the goal square. Roving it and hitting the ball with intent was Stevenson, but then riding him into the ground with intent a couple of Southport players, including, is it Josh Clayton or Clark? It was Josh Clayton, both of them with very similar Nat Fife man bun type hairdos. But Clayton, what a great tackle that was.
Ball up, 20 metres out, uncontested ruck tap. No one contested Hall, so he just takes it out of the air and sends it high outside defensive 50. No mark for Southport, but they win it at ground level again. Mutu chips it over the top to Hancock. Davies with the spoil, but it ricochets off hands. Hebron has 2 to beat. Turner's in there. Just a little kick to advantage from Ford into the path of Hancock. He tries to go off the deck, but Clements was behind the pack, picked up the ball, short kick inboard to Clayton, chips it inside, forward 50. He's got a man in space. Kick had too much on it, and it trickles over the boundary line for a throw in, right next to the right point post.
So poor old Wade Hancock, as he was coming through there, and it was a foot race, and then he had a mighty air swing, and it threw him off balance. He probably almost did a groin there. So we've got to throw in the right forward pocket. 77 points the margin. Southport are smashing the Sydney Uni students here today. Davies hits it towards the boundary line again and towards Dimmery, who escorts it over there. Boundary umpire will get a second shot at it from the same area. Late in the third term, 11 goals, 14 to 3 straight behinds. That's right. Top of the table, hasn't kicked a goal. Nearly 3/4 of a game of footy gone. Davies. Boston now. Wheels around. El Mucho, the right foot towards Hancock. Beautifully intercepted by Harry Morrison, the rookie from Uni.
Short kick to the pocket. Not a good kick. And fists it over the boundary line. And it's on again. Another push and shove. Corbett and Stevenson.
Well, all I've got to say is that it doesn't take a lot not to react to somebody giving you a serve. All you did was a skill error, and then you got a serve. Don't start hitting people.
So from the boundary throw in, Turner against Davies. Turner wins this one, tries to throw it on the boot, but it's smothered partially. Barkley will lead the foot race. He can't gather it. Coming into lend a hand is Barron Hayes, wrapped up by 2 Southport tacklers. Forces a ball up right against the boundary line, 40 metres from Southport goal.
If you're a Southport fan, you'd be loving this because, as you said before, you alluded to it, Jess, that they're that far in front now, it's not funny, but they're still hitting as hard as they did in the first minute.
So from the ball up, Turner fists it inboard. Umpire, the non-controlling umpires, found a free kick to Sydney University.
Took his legs out.
And it's going Hebron's way, and he's a little bit ginger.
Oh, I would have called him strawberry blonde.
Short kick inboard to Bartholomew's.
Got to have some fun here somehow, Jess, at the minute.
And finds Thompson, still inside defensive 50. Unsure where to go, decides to go laterally to Hebron, right half back. Tried hard, up to 17 disposals, 8 marks, 8 rebound 50s for Hebron, as he switches play to Barkley, who then finds Bartholomew. So still inside defensive 50, still as the kick finds Stevenson. Now they're out. Wow. Left half back, he's got a runner in Bartholomew's, I think that was. Kicks it inside the centre square to Bonnie, under pressure. Monty Crockle, they've coughed it up. Turner, Charlesworth, high kick to the wing, but he's got a man in space in Clements. And Southport again win possession.
Rob Clements, just a little sand wedge, gets it now towards O'Shea. Just forward of centre wing in front of the Doug Hannah Memorial scoreboard, which sees the Sharks in front by 77 points. Long kick to right half forward. Josh Hall through his hands, over the back of the pack. Towed off the deck. Barkley. Hebron comes in. He's tackled immediately. The ball's held to him. Not a lot of effort being shown, but not a big appeal from the tackler either in Charlie Ford. So we'll get a ball up. It's in the right forward pocket. Again for the Sharks. 77 points they lead this one by. Davies gets up, slaps it down, towed out of the pack to left half back for Sydney Uni. Austin Lucy closely pressured there by Charlesworth, and Charlesworth takes it over the boundary line. We get another throw in right on the 50-metre arc, right half forward for the Sharks.
Almost in the shadows of three-quarter time here. It's an ugly scoreline for Sydney University. They just have not once looked like generating any kind of momentum. Of course, the scoreboard suggests that when you haven't kicked a goal as Corbett. Wins the ball at ground level, fires out a handball to Doran, handball to Manteet. They're on the outer side, half forward, kick inside forward 50 from Reeves. Pack forms out the back. Here's a chance for Clements. Handballs to Johnson. He's got 3 to beat. He can't get out of this one. Almost a chance there by Southport as a three-quarter time siren sounds. Southport still dominating this contest. 11-14-80, plays 3 behinds to Sydney University. Margin 77 points. Pricey.
Dear, oh dear, Jess. So after Southport led by 44 at quarter time, 65 at half time, it's now 77 points. You've got top of the table, as I keep saying, Sydney Uni, who failed to score in the first quarter. They scored 1 point in the second, and they scored 2 further points in the third quarter. This is an absolute shellacking in the old language, and Southport doing it easy on their home turf. Their fans would be absolutely loving this one. It's like the Southport of old when they entered the QAFL way back in 1981-82. They came in and steamrolled the opposition, and they're doing it here. Southport giving it to Sydney Uni in first versus third. Michael Price and Jeff Webster with you. We'll be back with the final term very shortly for you on NEFL TV. Welcome back to Fankhauser Reserve, the home of the Southport Sharks for NEFL round 10. First versus third, Sydney Uni are visiting the Sharks, and they're getting their pants pulled down in front of their opposition crowd. Southport 11-14-80, Sydney Uni 3 behinds. That is correct, 3 behinds, 77 points the margin for Southport after they led by 65 at half-time of 44 at quarter-time. For the Sharks, you've got Johnson with 3, Corbett's got 2 individual goal kickers, Dylan Fife, Turner, O'Shea, Doran, Shears and Hall. Of course, none for Sydney Uni. Now, a couple of vital things have been happening. Lee Dale has been running around all over Tom Young, the 2015 MVP for the NEFL, who's hardly had a touch today. He's done a great job, the guy with the dreads.
Absolutely. It's been one of the key performances today that have really set the tone for Southport. And while Xavier Richards and Nathan Cooper, 2 key defenders, are out for Sydney University, but what I think has been impressive by Southport is who are kicking their goals. The little mosquito fleet, Doran, Corbett, Shears, O'Shea, Fife all have 1, Johnson 3, and then you've got Jed Turner and Josh Hall, 2 key position players on the score sheet as well. It's been fantastic performance, and let's see what the last quarter brings.
8 separate goal scorers for Southport. Doing it on the bit at the moment. So it's Jed Turner versus Tagliabue. Ball favoured Turner. Tagliabue bends down, picks it up though, shoots it out to Fong. Fong inside 50. Big contest. O'Shea could have been awarded a mark there. Very courageous going back with a flight. Davies gets around 1-2 and curls it. What's going to happen here? It's touched through. No, it's not. They're so stingy they don't even want to give them a behind at the moment. The Southport defence do concede that. Sydney Uni, 4 behinds. Still trailing the Southport Sharks, 80.
Clayton marks for the Sharks. He's possession number 29 for Clayton. Short kick towards the boundary line. Charlesworth, under pressure, handballs to Clark. Kicks up towards the wing, marking in space. No dropping in the end was Clements. Coming in to lay the tackle was Bartholomew's. Ball still a chance to be spilled out? No. Now the umpire calls for a ball up. Centre wing position out of side.
Yeah, it's been a magnificent physical tackling effort from Southport today. They have disrupted everything that Sydney Uni have tried to do. Ball on the outer side. Now the students can try to extract it. Again, exactly what I was talking about. Kai Shears with a magnificent tackle. Dislodge the ball. It goes over the boundary line. Get another throw in. And they have not had a minute's respite, Sydney Uni. Since the opening bounce, they have been belted from pillar to post, and it's affected them mentally and their running ability as well.
Tagliabue against Turner in the ruck. First to meet it was Fong. Handball into space. Still a chance for the students, but now it's a turnover. Clayton gets the handball from Mutu. Kicks wide. Hancock marks in space. Wants to play on. Short spearing kick in the Johnson direction inside 50, but Barron Hay had him covered. Wins the ball back. Handballs inboard to Goulden. Handballs to Hares. They still cause a turnover. Boston just emerges from the pack. Has a casual bounce. Outside forward 50. Short kick in the pocket. Brilliant. Brilliant by Boston to find Manteet. Set shot on goal coming up against the boundary line. 40 metres out.
Well, I can understand them getting a bit more frustrated, but Andrew Boston there was like everybody else, was at running at a different speed, and he just said, no, I'll go at half your pace, but I'll see everything more clearly. And then he just absolutely nailed the pass. Brilliant stuff from Andrew Boston. Did not panic.
That's why he's on top of the NEFL MVP leaderboard at the moment. Boston set up this opportunity for Manteet. Comes in from 40 across the face of goal. 4 and minor score. 11-15, 81 plays 4 behinds, 2.5 minutes played in the last.
Back to that 77-point margin as we were at three-quarter time. Playing it to himself was Hares and kicked it straight down the guts of Mitch Johnson, who kicked it straight back over his head and kicks his 4th goal. Oh, it's completely fallen apart for Sydney Uni.
Oh dear. Oh dear, Pricey.
Mitch Johnson, how about that? He was so surprised, he barely caught it. Went straight at his face.
And that's 2 goals from Johnson. Remember his goal in the third quarter where it was a switched kick across the face of goal and Johnson went, thank you very much, because the kick didn't have too much on it. 2 easy goals to Johnson. He's got 4 for the day, but the errors from Sydney University today, like I said, just I've barely seen a performance like this.
But it's like a broken record. I keep saying it. The tackling stats are there. 62 to Southport, 38 for the students, but
That's
they're tackling with intent and they're dislodging the ball. 49 inside 50s to 24, pounding.
Ball back in the middle. Fife extracts it. Handballs to Doran. Under pressure to Turner. He's tackled by Stevenson. Gets the kick away up to half forward. Fist from Goulden. Barkley will contest this with Ford. Ford wins out. Handballs to Reeves. They've got another chance now to go inside 50. A handball towards half forward. Doesn't meet its target. Clements. It's just ridden all over by Bartholomew's. Fires out a handball into space, but it's Charlesworth is the only one there. He goes backwards to Davis. Monty Crockmore comes in with the spoil. Davies for the students comes out. Just taps it into the advantage of Crockmore. Handball out wide to Derricks. Handball to space to Bonnie. To Lucy. Spins around. Inside 50. A shot on goal is wide. Another behind to the students. Their 5th of the afternoon. Trails Southport 12-15-87.
Well, they've nearly got a goal. Only a point off. It's Noah Corbett. Takes the mark at right half back. Had a fine game after being a late inclusion. Chipped it forward, and Michael Manteet, the former Collingwood-listed Sydney Uni player himself, kicked a couple of goals, kicked a goal last week. He is a bit of a goal sneak. Can kick the ball long, though, too. Back of the pack. Big fly was from Hall. He missed it. Well done by Hebron. Loops a handball over the top again. Tackling effort on Fong was superb. The ball dislodged. Bird back to Hebron. Thompson.
The barrel.
Nice barrel. I think he was kicking it to the runner, though, dressed in pink. And taking it over the boundary line, Ned Reinhard. Closely pressed there by Davis, who's played an interesting role in the back line, hasn't he?
A bit of a sweeper. Like, he just zones off. He knows where to go. He's obviously a very experienced player with AFL experience. And they let him read the play and go where he needs to go. And that's, I think, what their defence is based around. As the ball is tossed back in. Thompson for the students. Handball to Stevenson. High kick towards half forward. No mark. Reinhard has a second effort against Charlesworth. Can't quite win possession, and then he's wrapped up by Charlesworth. Ball up 45 metres out from University goal, and Pricey, they need 2 goals to students to avoid their lowest ever score on record.
So their lowest ever score is?
19-15 against NT Thunder in round 13 of 2014.
Okay, so they've got to get another 11 points to beat that. As Lee Dale gets down to ground level with 5. Well done, Davies, who picked it up and leapfrogged the pack. Sold a big dummy, but then Josh Hall with the one-handed smother. Beautiful across the boundary line. We'll get a throw in at left half forward for Sydney Uni. They are pressing, but they're 82 points adrift at the moment. And there's still a bit of stink behind the play between Thompson and Shears as well. Clements, handball to Dale, who's now off the leash. He's given Tom Young a belting, and now he's starting to rack up possessions. Mitch Johnson takes the mark. It's the big run in the middle from Josh Clayton. He can kick a long ball, we know that. He decides to look for Hancock. Hancock at the back, beautiful use of the body against Dimmery, and Dimmery does well to get back and get the pill. Misses the target with the handball. Hall's going to get there first. Good play there from Bartholomew. Stuck underneath, umpire circling. No, it'll be a ball up.
I almost wanted Josh Clayton just to sort of have a couple of steps and just roost it.
Well, Josh, if you've got a weapon like that, you might as well use it. I keep saying it. If you can kick the ball 60 metres on the fly, have a ping at him.
Fife is in there for Southport from the restart, but the ball again trickles over the boundary line. We haven't moved. We'll have another ball in.
You see Southport with only 4-5 outriders. The rest of their side is inside 50 and pressuring the ball, and all condensed on the left side of the field.
And Davis just protecting the corridor. You might not see it on NEFL TV, but that's the role he's been playing today. There's a high up and under kick towards the hot spot. No mark from this one, but free kick going University's way for high, I believe it was, on Bartholomew's.
I think Dylan Fife was thinking it was his free kick, but nothing doing.
Handballs quickly to Thompson, skirting the boundary line to Stevenson. Long kick outside defensive 50. Reeves at front position, couldn't mark. Bonnie at ground level. Handballs to Crockmore. He's under pressure, wrapped up by Seb Tape. Is that holding the ball?
Oh, it's prior
Yes,
opportunity.
it is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
We built it up. We're just waiting for the umpire to make it official.
very good call from umpire Sam Ward. Wrapped him up.
So Seb Tape kicks laterally to Davis, who then whacks it inside forward 50. No mark. Ball trickles over the boundary line again. And we will have a ball up, this time just inside forward 50. Right half forward flank for Southport.
So played about 10 minutes of the final term on NEFL TV through our broadcast partner Bar TV. And Southport Sharks at home to Sydney Uni. They're 82 points in front. If you've just joined us, it's been an absolute procession for the entire game. Davies gets a one-handed tap down. Good little change of handballs. Gets it out of the congestion, and Noah Corbett gets found with a beautiful pass right on 50. I don't think he's got the distance, has he? He seems to be reasonably confident. He's already kicked a couple of goals. The former Surfers Paradise junior, and he had 3 games with North Adelaide in the Sandful as well. Knows his way around the field. Little hop step. Lets it go from right on 50. That's a good-looking conveyance, Noah Corbett. He celebrates very healthily with his 3rd goal. And Southport, 13-15-93, giving it to Sydney Uni. 5 behinds. It is now 88 points the margin. Who'd have thunk it?
And what's so great to see from Southport is all players, bar the couple of players coming off for their rotations, all went to Noah Corbett then and celebrated. We're 10 minutes into the last quarter, they're up by 88 points, and yet they're still celebrating every goal. And it just goes to show the spirit that we've seen from the Sharks today. We've mentioned it a couple of times, Pricey. This is the Southport of old, and this is the Southport that this club has tried to get back to over a number of years.
Building that reputation of fearless attack at the football and ruthlessness, and this is what they've given us today.
So we're back in the middle. Fife fires out a handball. Dispossessed was Mutu, but he picks it up again to Doran. Davis chips it.
Yeah. You see that? Okay, well, I've just watched it there. A shepherd was laid against Damien Bonney, who's immediately reacted by whacking somebody around the head. The fact is, they're being punished fairly, physically, and they're reactive, and they've played garbage football today. Absolute rubbish.
So from the ball up, Barkley first to meet it, but Bird underneath the pack. Corbett lays the tackle. Ball up on the outskirts of the centre square.
Of course, that written and produced by Michael Price, not Jess Webster, who's a lot more diplomatic than I am.
But you're correct. You're absolutely correct.
Just reactive, and they wouldn't be wanting to see this tape as a group in front of a coach of the calibre of Tom Morrison as well. As a free kick goes to the students. Craig Bird, who always battles hard, back to Hebron, who's a mile and a half ahead of the best players for them. Punched away by Baxter, rove by Fife. It's a long kick towards Johnston, outnumbered there. Well played there by Baron Hay, fisted it down. Bartholomew's back to Baron Hay. No, it's over the boundary line. It'll be a throw in. Southport appealing for deliberate. That's a little ambitious, but they'll get a throw in. That's a left forward pocket. And still a chance to increase this to a 100-point margin. This could be the lowest score in the history of Sydney University Football Club.
Which is stunning considering they're on top of the ladder, Pricey.
This
isn't a bottom of the table side.
They've lost one game, and that was to their nemesis, the Sydney Swans, last week. Not by an embarrassing margin, but this is an embarrassing margin. Absolutely embarrassing.
A week is a long time in football. We're seeing it here today. Fankhauser Reserve.
Toss up there. Well played. Dale in and under. Fong did well and then took them on. Tackled and dropped the ball. Mutu as well. Stuck underneath he. And we'll get another throw in. Another ball up, 30 metres out directly in front. 88 points it is. The Sharkies leading it at Fankhauser Reserve.
So Sydney University pressing for their first goal of the afternoon, but they're going absolutely nowhere. And we will have a secondary ball up.
It's extraordinary. I'd love to see. We've got some wonderful football knowledge surrounding us here at the Cabana Lounge. We'll cover that in a moment.
So from the ball up, Corbett fires out a handball to Johnson. He's a long way from home. Handball's in the space of Doran. He can't gather it. Bird now for the students. Umpire's found a free kick.
No, there's spot fires going off in the background again. El Mucho's in it with Barkley, and
is it going? It's going.
It's going to Sydney Uni. It'll go to Thompson by the looks of things. No man on the mark, so he plays on.
Off he runs, but he's got nowhere to go. Chips it. Doesn't have enough on it. Baxter chops it off. Southport with the turnover. Long kick inside forward 50. Pack forms. Johnson can't take the mark. Clements at ground level. He's still a chance. Clements throws it on the right boot. And that is a brilliant goal.
You know what? That was 2 against 5. 2 attackers against 5 defenders. Talk about the wheels falling off. The wheels have fallen off. It's on blocks. They've smashed the windows. Gone. Sydney Uni. Absolutely flogged today. Southport. Well, they've done everything that Stephen Daniels and Matty Lappin and Matt Kennedy, we talked about the extensive experience of their coaching staff. How much would they love the intent on the footy today? Absolutely amazing. Well done.
And they've just absolutely punished the students on the turnovers. Absolutely punished them. And just some of their ball movement. But you're right, it comes down to intensity and just their fight and their hunger. Because Clements so far out of position.
2 against 5, Jess. And the 2-1.
Yeah, and he still came up with it, and that was a perfect finish.
It's 94 points the margin. I'm barracking for 100. There you go, Jed Turner. It's a high, long ball inside 50. Back of the pack, Clements. What's he going to do? He's going to rove it, gets a handball away, Hancock. They're all lining up now. Well stolen by Hebron again. I'll say it again. Head and shoulders the best player on the ground for the students. Not many of them to choose from, I've got to say. This fella's been all right as well. Chipping forward, Austin Lucy, not his best day today. Takes the mark in front of us, wheels around. 2014 Premiership player with the Aspley Hornets. Plays on to the run of Thompson. Got the handball, this is better. To Wilson. Wilson now inside 50. Just that deft touch at the end has put the ball under pressure. Ethan Reeves just got a fingertip to it. 45 metres out, the students will get a ball up advantage. 94 points they're trailing, and they've got to kick another 11 or so points to avoid their worst score in history.
I've got to beat 1-9-15. At the moment, it's not looking too good as we played 15 minutes in the final term. Boston throws it on the boot, gets it out of congestion. Clements got a couple of beat. This time, University wins out. Bonnie just hacked it outside the pack to Stevenson, who just overran the footy and didn't turn back to get it. Now there's a turnover. Southport through Hancock. Left foot kick to no one in particular. Barron Hay will be first to meet it for the students. Handballs to Stevenson. Centre half back for the students. Raking handball to Crockmall. Long kick towards the outer side wing. Reinhard marks.
So Reinhardt, he's held up predictably. Southport again have done it all day. That's just an awful kick. It's missed the target by nearly 15 metres. Actually comes back now to Ford inside 50. Mitch Johnson takes it, takes off, runs through and kicks his 5th goal. Mitch Johnson. He's got 5. That's where they can all raise the bat now, Southport. Oh, no, not quite. Is it 100 points yet, Jess? Yes, it is.
Exactly, 100 points exactly.
Time to raise the bat. 15-15, 105, plays 5. That's 100.
Stunning.
My maths isn't great, but when it's that big a gap, it's that easy, isn't it, Jess Webster?
And a true definition, I think, of a 4-quarter performance that we've seen from Southport. When you're so far ahead, you know that the opposition's got a couple of injuries. You've got to win comfortably. We see often sides might just, kind of turn down the dial in the second half. But Southport, they kicked 2-0 in their third and now 4 goals, 1-0 in the last. They have not let up once. So back in the middle, Tagliabue wins the clearance for University. Inside, forward 50, coming out to market is Tape. Handballs out to Reeves, right half back for Southport. Clayton, short kick up the wing. Mark can't be taken by Doran. Barkley for the students, under pressure, kicks in the Reinhard direction. Wilson roves it, handballs inboard to Dimmery, but now he's under pressure. Turnover again, Boston whacks it on the boot, up towards the wing position. Hebron affects the contest, ball at ground level. Hares to Thompson. He's wrapped up by Baxter. The chase the tackle, the intent. Quick to play on Doran. Chips inside 50. Johnson marks on the lead. Is he paying the mark? Because it did spill out.
Well, Mark Andor free kick could have been. He did get into his back a little bit.
The umpire, I don't think, signaled, so I couldn't see if it was a mark or a push. I'm not quite sure what the free kick was for.
If he points his arm that way, you know it's a free kick to them, and what it's for, well, we'll make it up as we go along.
Well, since I think he dropped the mark, it must be for a push in the back. So we'll go with that. It's Johnson for goal number 6. He kicked 8 goals in his last outing against NT Thunder in round 6 here. This for number 6. As he crosses forward 50. Lets it go. He doesn't have enough on it. It'll drop short. Taking the mark in the goal square is Hall.
That was a ripping mark from Josh Hall. Absolute beauty.
Had his eye on it from the time it left Johnson's boot. Easy goal, as you like. His second. Southport, their 16th of the afternoon.
Well, it's getting uglier, isn't it? 16-15, 111 to 5. That makes it 106 points. And it's just, it's just been a procession from start to finish since they kicked their first goal in the first 5 minutes of the game. They kicked 6 in the first quarter, 3 in the second, another couple in the third quarter, but now 5 goals so far in the final term. All unanswered, Jess. That's the thing. Not one goal on the board for Sydney Uni. Dejected. And how a team that's sitting with only 1 loss at the top of the ladder can be so average, I must say, against Southport, who have been so above average and very, very good. They've made them look probably worse than they have been. Southport have been enormous.
And Sydney University play Aspley next week, who have really hit some form. Talk about a game to watch. You are not going to want to miss that one. That
will be an absolute cracker. Tagliabue gets this one down to Thompson, who basically skyballs it 20 metres forward. Damien Bonney, who's just had a very, very bad day at the office, as Damien Bonney can't quite get the ball, and Southport do get the free kick. Last man coming up with his Doran. The left footer wheels around onto that same. Kicks it in the Davis direction. Good spoiling effort from Dimmery. Davis did well to go back, butter up. Rides the tackler, Craig Bird. That's a good tackle. Holding the ball. Bird just doggedly just hanging on to Davis. Illegally disposed of the ball. And the former Essendon and Sydney Swans player in Craig Bird has the free kick. He's on the outer wing. Still barking instructions. He's got no movement whatsoever for him up the field. Long kick in the direction of Tagliabue and 3 opponents. It ends up predictably with Southport. Noah Corbett, handball to Tape, who comes straight across half-back and hits Ethan Reeves right on the point of the centre square.
Chips it over the top to Clayton. He drops the mark, but he's got time. Should be able to regather, and he does. Wants to get around Davies. Good pressure by Davies. Handball into the path of Turner. Hebron's on his tail. Ball spills out to Davies. Kicks it to half forward. Absolutely no one there, but slipping over was Clark. Coming in is Derricks to lay the tackle. Bonnie's in there. Tape lends a hand, and this should force a ball up. No, it tries to spill out. Bonnie's just trying to remove himself. Tape with a great tackle. Spills out to Southport. Forward now. Handballs to Boston. Up against the boundary line. Spearing kick down the wing. No mark taken. Hancock, he's got 2 to beat. And somehow keeps it alive. No, he doesn't. Runs out of room. Ball up between the wing and centre or half forward position for the Sharks.
They're still leading by 106 points here at Fankhauser Reserve. Round 10 action for you. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage. Well, you have if you barrack for Southport. I give you the tip. If you're a Sydney Uni fan, you go back and review a couple of games from earlier on in the year. As the ball goes over the boundary line. It'll be a throw in. Andrew Boston, a lot of players on haunches. It's been a very physical contest today here at Southport. Tap down to Manteet, tackled by Davies. Ball drops at Manteet's feet, and again we'll get a bit of a rugby maul going on, and the umpire will come in and ball it up. as well. The Physicality started very, very early, Jess. There was a lot of little melees and spot fires around. We had a couple of reports in Austin Lucy and Damien Bonney for striking as Fife comes through for Southport, hits it towards Hancock, it rolls over the boundary line, throw in where the 50 intersects. So, yeah, Damien Bonney and Austin Lucy reported for striking, and unfortunately for Sydney Uni, Nathan Cooper with an ankle and Xavier Richards with a hammy basically lost from about late in the second quarter. So they've been down a couple of rotations as well. So there's a couple of mitigating factors, but the fact that they've been ordinary is the biggest one.
I think so. Hit the nail on the head as Dale, one of Southport's best today. You can't win possession though, dispossessed. Still a chance for Southport. Mutu on the bottom of the pack. He's wrapped up.
And
Ball up.
You mentioned it before too, Jess, the emergencies that all came in, the late changes for Southport in Mutu and Doran and Corbett. Corbett's kicked 3. They've all had big effects on the game.
Absolutely. Speak of one of them in Corbett. Fires out a handball. Misses its target though. Hebron been fantastic for Sydney University today. He just hacks it towards the wing. Lucy against Kenny. And both of them miss it. Bonnie mops up. Handballs to Wilson. Short kick laterally. Reinhard inside the centre square. Wants to play on quickly. Sends it inside forward 50. He's got Derrick's on his own. Oh. He marks 40 metres out from goal. He'll have to kick it from outside 50. But could this be the chance for Sydney University at the 24.5-minute mark of the last quarter to get their first goal?
He's their leading goal kicker for 2016-2017. He's kicked 17-9 for the year. Chances are, Jess.
Derrick's from 45 on the right, and that is a beautiful strike of the football. Sydney University, their first goal of the afternoon. They've waited a long time, Pricey.
Oh, they've waited a long time. And how competitive the Southport defenders, punching their hands in frustration that the opposition actually scored a goal. You stingy mob. 111 versus 11. So we're back to exactly 100 points. Now, the interesting fact is, will it stay over 100 points, or will Sydney Uni record their lowest score in history? It currently is 1-9-15, and currently they are 1-5-11. So they need another 4 or 5 points to get over that one.
One more goal.
One more goal, and Sydney Uni avoid the ignominy of having the lowest ever score in history. Let's see how they go. Jed Turner. I thought it was very amusing, the Southport defenders punching their hands in frustration. Absolutely stingy. As Fife goes in hard. Davies, they must know about this lower score thing. They've kicked it inside 50. That's the most zinging I've seen the play go out of the centre. Davies as well, who's tried very hard. Boston, enter the moustache. Comes in. Handball to Turner. The big fella. Can he control it? Well, barely. Well done, Mutu. Handball now to Reeves. Reeves now that's a 9-iron sideways, but it's going to be working out. And it goes over the boundary line in front of Kai Shears. So there's 100 points the margin, and it is 58 inside 50s to 30. But the disparity is they are 135 disposals in arrears, Sydney Uni. That's just a lack of effort as far as running when the ball gets out.
Davies in the ruck, straight down the throat of Boston, Bird and Stevenson, and sure, he's going nowhere. Ball up right in front of us here on Needful TV.
We said it before, Craig Bird's had he hasn't exactly, he's top of the charts with 32 disposals. He's had a pretty good day as far as trying his guts out for his side.
Shears, little scrubby kick off the side of the boot. Hancock overruns it at the back. Bartholomew's for the students. Handball over the top to Fong. And Corbett comes in. He just shrugs the tackle to Fong. He's taken them on. Will he dispossess? No.
Well, the man's got to know his limitations. When you've got 4 opponents, it's hard.
So, again, a little bit of argy-bargy. As Mutu emerges with the footy. Thought it was Corbett who laid the tackle, but never mind. Mutu can get another stat. He just tries the barrel. And just lands inside the boundary line. But that was a brain fade? Why would you do that?
Just a 40-20 kick. He thought he was playing the wrong game. Kick for touch. Absolutely amazing stuff. How long do you reckon we got left, Jess?
2 minutes, 27.5 play. We've had 6 goals kicked in this last quarter, so maybe another couple of minutes.
So we'll see how it goes. Ball right half forward for Southport. Now, we said Mitch Johnson was going to be a factor, but 5 goals, it's a very good return from him. And Noah Corbett, 3. Josh Hall's got a couple after getting his first goal in 3 years last week. Ball's kicked towards the interchange gates. Sydney Uni moving the ball by hand, and again, they'll have it buffeted out. It was Sam Fong, who took last year off to travel, came back. Originally from Claremont, takes it over the interchange gates right in front of us here. Neefel TV through our broadcast partner Bar TV, and we're proudly supported by Elastoplast. Josh Hall just grabs it out of the ruck, got tackled, holding the ball. Craig Bird, advantage, inside 50. Davies had his name written all over it, couldn't quite drag it to ground. Ball hits the deck. Reinhardt and Lucy takes it over the boundary line, 50 metres out. This is the interesting part of the game. Will it be a 100-point result? Will it be Sydney Uni stopping the worst score in their history by scoring a goal here, Jess?
Let's have a look. Boundary throw in inside 50 for the students. Coming out to meet a Bird. Again, another touch for him. But Dale, geez, he's been great today for Southport. Mutu getting tackled.
Nice.
For the Sharks. Sorry, I got distracted for a little bit there. Ball up. We're about 16 metres out from Sydney University goal. Half forward flank.
By the scoreboard. I got distracted by it before. I looked up and there was all these ones.
Late in the game, Pricey. It's a 100-point margin.
There's a whistle. Now it'll go to Sydney Uni. It was Sam Fong, who was umpire that was furthest away, called it, Jess. That's why you didn't see it. Damien Bonney. He roves and kicks. A behind. So they've kicked, well, 2 goals if you add it all up. It's 1-6-12. So it's 99 points the margin. They'd be happy about that, Sydney Uni. Southport would like to push it back up over 100, so it's going to end up now with Charlesworth. He looks better every game he plays, this kid.
He's had a really great season, but that was not his best kick. Commentator's curse.
That's what happens. You put the wrap on, he kicks it in the man on the mark. Davies is going to belt it through and save the day. But no, I'll stick with my original comment. He looks better every time I see him when he doesn't do that.
So, still Sydney University's lowest score.
By 2 points.
By 2 points. We play 30 minutes now in the final quarter. Siren cannot be far away. Southport bring it back in. Mutu can't mark. Spoiled away by Barkley. Ball still in play. Fife there. Fends off Barkley and just throws it on the boot. Outside defensive 50. Hebron has front spot.
Oh.
Can't take the mark though. And here is Ford. Handballs to Baxter. Long kick down the line. Hancock's in space. He's got a bit of room. Over Morrison. Has a bounce. Short kick. Johnson. Led his man under the ball. Can he keep it alive? He can. He's got to get around Barron Hay. He just handballs over to Hancock. Little dribbler click along the ground. Another goal to Southport, and it's Hancock's first of the afternoon. The margin back out to 104 points.
104 points it is, and that was the story of the day, wasn't it? Mitch Johnson, he just bamboozles his defence.
He's really smart, isn't he?
Very smart footballer. He's not that tall, but as a full forward, he's got a lot of strength and a lot of, strength close to the ground. He keeps his feet. He basically came out and led. He doubled back, got his man under the ball, played it sensibly, handball to Hancock, and see you later, motors, as they say. 104 points. The Sharks having a field day on their own field here at Fankhauser Reserve, Neefel TV, round 10. And Sydney Uni, the day to forget for them. Top of the ladder clash, they came in as favourites and they're getting it handed to them. Ball spills inside, attacking 50. That's deliberate. Simple as that. Oh, yeah, good call, umpire. Well done, Isaac Farrell. He had no intent to keep that in. Absolutely deliberate. And Mitch Johnson will line up for goal number 6.
It's a tough shot. The siren has to be only moments away.
It would be blessed relief for Sydney Uni to get the siren right now. Tom Morrison just want to get him back home and away from this place so they can erase some memories. Mitch Johnson leans back. Back of the pack, Hall! Juggles one. Josh Hall. Oh, has he done a bit of an ankle there too? He's a bit ginger getting up. But Well, he's that close, he could probably just punt it over with the shin. Oh, he plays on. He was foxing all the time. Josh Hall gets his third, and Southport rubbing it. All of that sold into the wounds of Sydney Uni. 18-15, 123 to 13. It's 110 points.
And that's the second time Josh Hall this quarter is marked from in the goal square, effectively.
Well, he's basically minding the point post. So if you get the across the face of goal shot, he's just a big unit standing there, and he's done it a couple of times. Jess, you did call it. Absolutely.
So a dirty day for the students, and the siren is only moments away, and as it stands, it's their lowest ever score in NEFL history. 1-7 beats the previous score of 1-9 against NT Thunder in 2014. As we're back in the middle. Bird off the ground towards centre half forward. Lucy comes out to meet it. Back to Bird, but wrapping him up is Lee Dale.
Poor.
Great player he's been for the Sharks.
For today, Lee Dale, he might not have racked it up stats-wise, but whoever he's been standing next to, he's absolutely blanketed. He smashed Tom Young out of the game.
Speak about the disposals. There's only 2 Southport players out there as the final siren sounds to mark full time at Fankhauser Reserve in what has been an absolutely stunning performance by Southport. 18-15, 123 defeated Sydney University, 1-7, 13. It is the students' lowest ever score in NEFL history. And just absolutely amazing considering the students are on top of the ladder, but Southport, my God, Pricey, they've sent a message to the rest of the NEFL competition today.
And they've sent a message to themselves too. This is the standard we can play at. This is the standard we can actually throw at the rest of the competition. They'd have to come out now and think they are a red-hot chance. They've just grabbed the team that's at top of the ladder who had favouritism for the game with a better list. Everybody was objectively looking at it like that. And they have pulled their pants down and embarrassed them, not beaten them, flogged them, pantsed them, shellacked them. It has been an absolutely brilliant performance. I'm still blown away, but if Southport can bring that at that level for the rest of the year, look out the rest of the competition, because Southport are here and they're fair dinkum. Get them up here on Fankhauser Reserve and see how it goes, Jess.
Absolutely. I was just saying shortly before the full-time siren, only 2 Sharks players have registered less than 10 disposals today. For Sydney University, they've had 8. Considering, of course, Nathan Cooper is out for the game and he registered no disposals for the game. But interestingly, the second lowest possession winner for Sydney University today, Tom Young, 5 disposals. Tom
Young is what, if not, he's in the handful of the best footballers in this competition. And the young man, Lee Dale,
only had 11 disposals, but laid 8 tackles.
But the boy with the dreads has absolutely embarrassed Tom Young today. He took him to the cleaners, and well done, because that was obviously the instruction. They wanted Damien Bonney, they wanted Tom Young, and they sent their agitators in, and Tom Young was pushed off his game. Damien Bonney was put off his game to an extent where he's sniping behind the play with push me, shove yous. It is just an out-of-character performance for Sydney Uni, but it was a display that showed me some of the vulnerabilities that they've got under their veneer. On the other side of the fence, Southport, who I thought were a pretty good side, have showed if they can actually bring that level of intensity, they're going to smash the best. And they did today by over 100 points.
With their weakest side of the year. I have to mention that. This is not the best Southport side they put out, but it goes to show if you bring the right intensity, pressure, and willingness to take the game on, you could beat absolutely anyone and thrash them in that regard as well. Just recapping some of the goal scorers, Mitch Johnson finished with 5, Josh Hall 3, Noah Corbett 3, singles 2, Fife, Hancock, Turner, Jack O'Shea, Clements, Kai Shears and Matt Doran for Southport. The only goal kick-up for Sydney University, Jacob Derricks.
And I've got to say, a couple of the better players, let's roll through Sydney Uni because it wouldn't take long. Hebron, I thought, was probably the best for them. Craig Bird, though, racked them up and showed a great deal of leadership, even though he got soundly beaten in the middle. And also Stevenson, maybe Fong in the middle as well, I thought. But outside of that, a few players tried hard, but they were just outpointed all day. It was incredible, absolutely incredible, as we see the great Paul Roos walk away. He was just sitting there with his lovely wife Tammy next to us in the Cabana Lounge here at Southport with Fankhauser Reserve. Obviously a spectator. Their young son Tyler, who was due to be playing today, was one of the laid outs and was replaced. But Southport had their list, as we say, 3 major changes, and we thought, we will all pick Sydney Uni before the game, and we did. We tipped Sydney Uni. We thought they were going to come out. Southport said it all day, just with all of the intent and everything. There was no answer, and I would suggest that Tom Morrison would be absolutely very unhappy with that performance from Sydney Uni, and he'll probably go back. He might not even review all of it. He'll just pick up a couple of points and say that wasn't good enough, because it wasn't good enough from the side leading the NEFL ladder. We'll see how they go next time.
Absolutely. So thanks for joining us on NEFL TV. That's all we've got time for this afternoon. Thanks for your company. We'll see you next time.